Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. Ohio State's a 9.5-point favorite over Miami in Wednesday's Cotton Bowl quarterfinal. Kickoff from AT&T Stadium is tomorrow night at 7:30. OSU's Ryan Day says he'll call plays in the game. Join Skip Mossett, Paul Keels, and Jim Lachey tonight at 6 for a Cotton Bowl preview show. Earlier today, ESPN reported that Chip Kelly will become the new play caller at Northwestern. Kelly was fired by the Las Vegas Raiders back in November. Week 17 in the NFL wrapped up last night in Atlanta. The Falcons beat the Rams 27-24. Atlanta almost blew a 21-point halftime lead. Week 18 begins Saturday in Tampa. The Buccaneers host the Panthers at 4:30. Carolina can clinch the NFC South with a win. And on the ice last night in Ottawa, the Blue Jackets beat the Senators 4-1. On Monday afternoon, Columbus sent Igor Chinnikov to the Pittsburgh Penguins. This update is sponsored by Eco Plumbers. Get $500 in free plumbing services when you buy a new water heater. Visit geteco.com and book today.
Your morning just got more interesting. Distilled and barrel-picked for your listening pleasure. Bo Bishop, a local sports media legend. What William T. Sherman was to the Union Army, he is to Northern College football. A husband, a father, and middling youth sports coach. He's friends with Central Ohio sporting royalty.
I'm talking to Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjorken. Coach Day walking on with us right now. Good to see you, buddy. Good buddy, Austin Ward. My good buddy, Tim May, the Tim May Show. The great Doug Lavery's joining us.
Hi, everybody. Dom Tiberi here.
Oh, Reese came in and he handed me papers.
Yeah,
and then
and
then he said, "You see that button? That's the only button you need to worry about. Don't touch. There's 8,000 buttons in front of me." Oh, I didn't know what he was talking about.
The one that says on.
We blew the budget on this imaging, and only two guys answered our ad on Craigslist. Ryan Baker and Eric Reeser. Act accordingly. You're now listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years.
All right, let's do it live on a Tuesday edition of the program. Bo and the boys with you for the next three. The boys are back. Reese is back. Bake's here. Boy, must be a big week. Everybody's in. Everybody's doing the work. We're in the salt mines getting the job done. Big game coming tomorrow. It's all happening, kids. We're loaded up for you. 10 o'clock, we'll hit you with the real truth. We'll find out if the Buckeyes do, in fact, have an edge, as Dommy was so convinced that they had yesterday, so we'll have a little bit of fun with that. 11 o'clock, we'll blitz the NFL. Speaking of Uncle Dom, he'll drop by at 10:30, and at 11:30, we will go behind enemy lines with Jordan McPherson, covers the Canes for the Miami Herald. The date was December 20th, 2023. I remember it vividly. We were doing the show, and Ohio State was having a press conference on National Signing Day. And during that press conference, they were in the process of signing another spectacular class, which is something that Ohio State does. But there was one guy that they were kind of waiting on. And when I say kind of waiting on, I mean entirely waiting on. That one guy was Jeremiah Smith. Now, Jeremiah had been committed to Ohio State since, I want to say, December of 2022. It had been a minute since he had been committed, well over a year that he had been committed to be a Buckeye. And it's a little different with receivers than it is with, say, quarterbacks. It's harder to find a consensus on it. But the consensus on Jeremiah was pretty simple. And it was that he was the best player in the country. And he was the first receiver ever to be the number one recruit in the country on the 24/7 composite. So that got my attention as someone who's paid attention to those things for the last 25 years or so. That jumped out at me, that he was the first receiver to be the number one overall player. And you started to hear whispers, and I reached out to a buddy of mine who had covered Florida recruiting for 40 years, and I said, "What can you tell me about Jeremiah?" And he said, "He's the best receiver prospect ever come out of South Florida." And I said, "Oh, okay." Well, that's pretty heavy. That's high praise. We know a lot of the kids who come from that part of the country, and if you come from there and you're the best of all of them, that's an attention getter. But it really wasn't until that signing day press conference when Ryan's knees buckled when he looked over at Jerry Emig and said, do we get it from Jeremiah? Now, what I had forgotten was, and they said, yeah, he's in. What I had forgotten was his national letter of intent didn't come in until later that evening, and there was all sorts of discrepancy, like, is he coming, is he not? And inevitably, there's a social media post like signing day night at 10 o'clock that said, yeah, I'm a Buckeye. And that's probably when the final relief, and I'm going to be honest with you, in the moment, always had this policy, wake me up when they get here with some of these guys. Like, they got a massive 5-star defensive end yesterday in the 2027 class. Uncle Tom's texting me about it. I'm like, if he gets here, we'll talk about it then. I don't know what this means. 2020, who knows? If they got a sign on the line which is dotted. Jeremiah inevitably did. And then you fast forward to spring, and Fox is here doing the spring game, and Ryan's on the mic with Joel Klatt, and he says, watch this. And it was almost like he wanted to show off the new toy. Then we started to know. Then momentum started to know. And then you start to hear whispers from practice. Yeah, he's a little bit different. The reason we're talking about all of this is because I think you could make an argument. And yesterday, Ari Wasserman, our good buddy, asked the question to Jeremiah, like, if Miami was playing in more of games like this, would you be a Cane right now? And he said, yeah, but I'm a Buckeye, is essentially what he said. And it came down to that. And I've told you a million times, and I got this from the Miami side of things. Miami offered more. They offered more money. He came to Ohio State for exactly what he has gotten from Ohio State. The platform, the development, everything that he dreamed, I think, a college experience to be, it has been received here. He's been given it here. You could make a pretty straightforward argument when you factor all of those things that day, the signing of Jeremiah Smith, is one of the most important days of Ryan Day's tenure. You don't win the national championship, I don't believe, without him last year. I think is that important. I think he's halfway through making a very solid argument to be one of the greatest Ohio State football players ever, if he can stack this out. And I understand the hyperbole that comes with that statement. When you have this conversation about the greatest individual Ohio State players ever, the conversations that usually come back to Arch and Opace. Those are the two. Those are the two that you get most. Arch with the 2 Heismans, without peer. But when you have best overall player, most people say Opace. And the thing about Opace was his physical dominance was so noticeable, so apparent at all times. He was the number 1 pick in the draft at tackle, for crying out loud, which tells you all that you need to know. He was a finalist for the Heisman playing tackle, tells you all you need to know. If you look at where Jeremiah is right now, he's about halfway there. He is a 2-time consensus first-team All-American receiver. He's a national champion. He could pick up another one in the next month in terms of the national championship. Already has iconic plays, has one of the most iconic plays of the last decade in the Notre Dame game last year. He's on his path to this, and it's a sliding doors moment of how close he got to not coming here at all. And it all goes back to about 2 years ago in December when he decided to stay with his commitment. But if he went the other way, who knows how all this tracks out over the last 2 years, fellas.
The Cam Ward, Jeremiah Smith connection would have been something. But I think it goes to show what Ohio State's built over the better part of a decade compared to what Miami's trying to piecemeal together every single season.
Yeah.
And I think that, obviously, the money being enough for Jeremiah, where he had a bigger offer from Miami and still said, I'm good with this.
Yeah.
Likely knowing what else could be made with success that comes in Columbus. I mean, Jeremiah is, I think, the unicorn that hasn't been around in terms of, did the recruit, as soon as he get on campus, live up to the hype and the expectations? We sure did.
Yeah.
And now he's got the chance to do the things that you just said in years 2 and 3 before he goes off and is the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. That doesn't happen.
First things first, welcome back, Reese. It's great
Good to be here.
Great to have the Wolf Pack back together here, the band back together.
Are you still sick?
No, I don't think so.
Your throat was scratchy before I left.
Yeah. This stuff just lingers this time of year, so I don't think it ever leaves. But at least my meniscus is intact. We'll have to have Bo tell you about that here.
We'll get into that.
I remember that signing day because you had 2 moments like that, right? Because there was one with Edric Houston, too.
Yeah,
and then you had the big one with Jeremiah, and I couldn't help but think back to that signing day when we had everything that happened with Chris Henry Jr. this year and him not signing for a couple days. You got the word that he was going to, but that letter of intent never came in, and he was trying to decide exactly where he was going to go because his offensive coordinators at both of his 2 spots had left to take head coaching jobs elsewhere. I can't help but wonder what Jeremiah, if he had gone to Miami, I can't help but wonder what his numbers would be like. Being the unquestioned number 1, and he's the unquestioned number 1 here, but Emeka Ibuka had great numbers last year. Carnell Tate chipped in. This year you've got Carnell Tate and you've got Max Clare. You had two 1,000-yard running backs last year. You had a 1,000-yard running back this year with Bo Jackson. It would be the Jeremiah Smith show if he was at Miami. And I have a feeling, especially last year as a freshman, he may have broke every receiving record ever with Cam Ward throwing him the ball and him being the only one against those weaker ACC defenses and whatnot. But I don't think there's any doubt Jeremiah made the right call. Coming here, being developed here, being around the culture here. And I just have a feeling that a healthy Jeremiah Smith tomorrow night in the Cotton Bowl, it may be an all-timer.
Here's the thing that's so remarkable about the decision he made at the time that he made it. It's the tougher one to make. Like it would have been easier to stay home. It would have been easier to take the more guaranteed money. It would have been easier to play in an offense that would stat pad and all of the things that would happen. You're right. I mean, like, my God, I didn't think about that, Reese. Like him and Cam Ward, my God. I mean, he would have had 1,800 yards receiving last year as a freshman, 26 touchdowns.
Minimum.
But
whichever records
whatever he
would have
wanted
been taken down.
Yeah, but the cool thing that he saw was the bigger picture, because not having that statistical accumulation allowed for him to be on a team that won a national championship. He still got consensus first-team All-American nod, despite not having the statistical accumulation that he would have had at the University of Miami. The development that came. He's on the cover of the EA Sports video game. I don't know if that happens if he goes to Miami. I don't know if he's the face of Adidas college football if he goes to Miami. I don't know if he has the national stuff that he's gotten if he goes to Miami. That happened because he saw the big picture here. It's an incredibly mature decision. If you had a kid in his skill set, are you sure that you would not say, "Hey man, just take the most. Get all the money you can as fast as you can get it." So, and it's an incredible sliding doors for Ryan, and it's incredible what he's done already and what he's in the middle of doing. It's really important when you're in the middle of observing greatness that you take time to appreciate it. Because dudes think about that. This buddy of mine, been covering South Florida recruiting for 40 years. The best wide receiver to ever come out of South Florida. Now, in this commercial break, Google receivers to come from South Florida and see who that's puts you up against, because that's what's at stake. Lots to get to. Full debrief from Reese's vacation as well, because my guess it was quite more interesting than what was happening around here. Certainly weather-wise, absolutely. To get you up on where things are and what you can expect tomorrow and even tonight. Cotton Bowl preview show tonight at 6 with Skip, Paul, and Jim. And then Wednesday, all day, we'll get you set. Bone and Tyvis early, then us, Common Man and Timmy special edition from noon to 2, then 2 to 4, Maddie, DeVere, and Dane on the pregame show, then the Central Ohio Toyota Dealers tailgate show with AR Bids and Joshua Perry, then 6 to 7:30 Ohio State Sports Network pregame show live from AT&T Stadium. Now, due to college football blackout restrictions, we're not able to stream the OSU broadcast, just the stream, right? But everything else is as it were. Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's what you have to look forward to over the next 24 hours or so. Here's the Buckeyes and Canes inching towards that showdown, and Jeremiah Smith in the middle of all of it. We continue coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We used to have a billboard with our host's face on it, but only ugly people work here now.
You mama say you ugly, hey!
The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Take action and get expert service from Logan Services. Heating service calls are just $79. Furnace tune-ups are also $79. And plumbing service calls are just $79. We work in your neighborhood, and scheduling online is quick and easy. So visit our website to book your appointment now. For fast, friendly service, choose Logan Services.
All new in 2026, the Ohio RV and Boat Show, brought to you in part by Ohio Credit Union, is back and bigger than ever at the Ohio Expo Center. Whether it's your first adventure or you're a seasoned outdoor enthusiast, this show has it all. One ticket gets you into all three buildings so you can see the latest in RVs, boats, motorcycles, ATVs, golf carts, and more. From towables to drivers, jet skis to pontoons, and more, it's all here. The Ohio RV and Boat Show at the Ohio Expo Center, January 9th through 18th. Get details and tickets at OhioRVandBoatShow.com.
This Christmas, get a bonus AI Essentials course when you enroll in any My Computer Career IT program by the end of the year. That's a $3,900 value. Attend classes online or on campus. Enjoy lifetime job placement support and IT certifications in high demand. Go to mycomputercareer.edu today and take the free career evaluation. That's mycomputercareer.edu, an elite CompTIA certification partner. Conditions apply to AI offer, and financial aid is available to those who qualify, including the GI Bill.
It's our last chance to donate for 2025. Donate your car today.
Call 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS to reach a friendly live agent. Donation's super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now, 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS.
Donate your car today. Hurry! It's our last chance to donate for 2025.
Hey guys, 13-year NFL veteran and Super Bowl champion Jason McCourty here, and I'm an innovation ambassador at FAIR, Food Allergy and Research Education. I would say the most challenging thing as a parent of a kid who has a food allergy is probably the ignorance that I myself had in the beginning. I didn't know what anaphylactic shock was. I didn't know the dangers, let alone the things that she needed to be able to have a normal life. When you go to drop your kid off, and every single time in the beginning, we'd have to go through everything she was allergic to. Preparation is everything. And me, for playing football for 13 years, it was all throughout the course of the week. It's getting ready for game day. When you're on the field, you're playing for your fans. At home, you're playing for your family. My playbook: read labels, keep it allergy friendly, and have an epinephrine nasal spray as a backup plan. Because when my family's safe from food allergens, that's the real victory. Visit foodallergy.org to learn more.
Back in the day, if you wanted to listen to the Fan, you turned on the radio, and that was the end of the story. But now, oh baby, stream us live on the Fan app, TuneIn app, iHeart app. We're everywhere. The Fan, Ohio's streaming destination.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, rental portfolios. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Chances of snow showers on and off today. Otherwise, mostly cloudy skies and cold with temperatures in the 20s, but with the gusty winds, feels like down into the teens. Some chances of snow overnight, lows down into the 20s, and then for New Year's Eve, we will see a chance of snow later in the day, which could impact your evening plans. Breezy winds and highs near freezing. For the Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfalo with the 10 Weather Impact Forecast.
We are your radio home for the Buckeyes, Browns, and all the NFL games you can handle. We may have a bit of a football problem. Oh, yeah? The Fan, Ohio sports destination. If you say something with enough confidence, it must be true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, I was going to do this later, but Bake just hit me with something 10 seconds before we went back on air. Can you just go ahead? Are you sure?
Yes. So the way the tiebreaker would work with the Falcons winning last night, the Buccaneers can beat the Panthers, and still not win the NFC South. The Panthers will be the NFC South champions no matter what if the Falcons win next week.
Even though the Falcons are eliminated from playoff contention?
Yes, because the way the tiebreaker works with the Falcons, the Buccaneers have the tiebreaker over the Falcons for the playoffs. I believe it's due to head-to-head. But if all three of them finish with the same record atop the NFC South,
oh my God,
the Panthers would win the head-to-head round robin with
You're
all
saying
of
this
them.
so emphatically, so emphatically that I'm trusting you, which is, but
Listen,
at the same...
I know you have a lot on the line here, so I looked into this hardcore this morning.
Oh, for God's sake. I thought it was a win and you're in.
Not the case. Your Rams didn't help you.
Oh, my God. So now I got to sweat this out twice?
Sounds like it.
I think if the Panthers just beat the Buccaneers Saturday at 4:30, I think it's not, you're not sweating, but you are cashing out. Well, I guess you're cashing your kid out.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't know that. Coming back, doing a little Buckeye Canes talk. I'm 15 seconds from coming back, and Bake hits me with that.
That was brutal last night for the Rams, and now more so brutal for you.
I had the graphic. We were going to talk about this a little bit later, but I even had the thing of the NFL has set up their 3 games. They put them in the Saturday 4 o'clock window, which is the Bucs and the Panthers, and then the Saturday 8 o'clock window that's the Seahawks and Niners. Again, I don't know why they're doing this on Saturday. They should just do this on Sunday. Like, college football's not playing on Saturday anyway. I don't know what the point of it is, but they are. And then you've got Steelers and Ravens. I had no idea that I got to pay attention to the Saints and Falcons as well. Luckily, the Saints are playing pretty solid.
But on a heater.
So,
sorry, didn't mean to derail your morning there.
Yeah, that just sucks. I did not realize that. I don't know how I missed that. I just assumed win or go in on Saturday, and I just got to deal with Saturday afternoon. Reese, I led the show with this yesterday. I'm curious your perspective on this, and you unplugged about as much as you can unplug, because where you went is about as far from big-time college football as you can go in the continental United States, I would suggest. But one thing that I talked about yesterday on the show was this whole thing was set up as an exhibition 100 years ago. And it was set up as in between semesters or quarters, the football team and the fans and stuff go someplace warm for a bowl. When you're in one of these, and we're lucky to be in one, and we're blessed to be able to do it in a place where it matters so much, it feels like it's your Super Bowl. But if you step out of this atmosphere for a second and go somewhere else, it almost feels like this stuff's happening in a closet. And that, like, you're going to play a quarterfinal tomorrow that it feels like nobody's talking about outside of those of us in these markets where we have these teams.
There was no college football mentioned out in Napa. Over the last day, honestly, it felt like outside of the 49ers, sports didn't exist.
Yeah.
It was only because the Niners were playing Phillip Rivers and the Colts Monday night that anybody had any interest in sports. It was cool to the point that you've always made about how in the West, with the West Coast times, you get sports earlier. So I did a couple times pull my girlfriend into watching some sporting events. Like we watched the Coffee Bowl with OU and then the Cavs-Knicks Christmas Day. And that was cool to watch them play at 10 o'clock. And so as we got, closer to the end of the fourth quarter with the Cavs up, I think 12 maybe going into the fourth quarter, they ended up blowing it, and it was terrible. You just ignore it because there's so much more to do. So I get it. I totally get it out there.
I always say that when people always want to cast it. You're playing Miami this week, and I remember going down there. It was the Fickle year, and Bosman was the quarterback, and it was just like you'd been dealt this incredible blow in the offseason of ineligible players, and prior to the supplemental draft, and Tress gone, and is Braxton ready? Not really. Let's try to make this work. And we went down there and went to the game, and there were a ton of Buckeye fans at the game. And we met with the Broward County. I remember doing a story with the Broward County Buckeye Club, and there was one in Miami-Dade that was massive as well. And I know whatever county that Naples is in, there's a massive Buckeye Club. They're everywhere, right? But you go to the game, and there was more scarlet and gray, or at least even as orange and green, but it felt like there was more scarlet and gray. And around the stadium, there was more scarlet and gray. And you're thinking, God, this is a home game for Miami. Like, do they even possibly, what is a home field advantage for them anymore? And I was someone who covered them at the Orange Bowl. Like, I'd been there when they played their games at the Orange Bowl. And that was a home field advantage. That was much closer to campus. That had juice to it. Now, the only game I ever covered there was a Florida State-Miami game, and that was their apex game at that time when you're talking about the early 2000s. But you would inevitably get people up here like saying, yeah, they're not real fans. They're not this. They're not that. So the next Sunday, the Buckeyes played the Saturday night, and then Sunday was NFL Sunday. It was like opening weekend of the NFL, and the Dolphins were playing. I want to say the Dolphins were playing at home, and we were with all the 10 TV folks, and we're like, well, what do we want to do? You want to do this? And we're like, actually, like, they'd never been to South Beach, like wanted to go to South Beach. So you look at the game from the night before, the Dolphins game on a Sunday, and you see empty seats in the stadium, and then you go to Miami Beach, and you see 200,000 people at the beach, and you go, oh. I get it. They're doing this. This is what they're doing. They're not set. And the same thing happens in California. And what you just experienced, Reese, is probably that's what I said. Like, it's probably the least interested place in sports on the planet is wine country in that area. Like, there's just so much else going on. But even the rest of it, when this stuff all starts at 9 o'clock in the morning on a big noon kick, it's done at 12:30. You got to the rest of your day, man.
It's so nice to be able to have just a chunk of time in the evening, in the afternoons and evenings, to not have to worry about sports. Because even out in California where we were, like San Francisco was getting pummeled by rain, but a little bit north into the Napa Valley, there was less of that. And I'm sure if you've been out there, you know that when the sun comes out, there's almost nothing, no prettier scenery, but it takes the temperature up 20 degrees.
Yes.
Like, the fluctuations in temperature in that region are as extreme as it gets even here. And I know it was like rainy and 60 this past week in Columbus. It was kind of similar out there.
Yeah, it was rain and 60 Sunday to wake up 25 degrees Monday. That's what it was.
Now
Buddy Garrity
looked
at me. Yeah, dude, I'm good, Dad. Why don't I just come right back in? I'll hold it. I'm good. That's how yesterday morning treated him. Now he's bouncing around. He's got a little juice to him. But yeah, that's why this game tomorrow night, you think about it from the Miami perspective, what they're attempting to do, and this kind of ties into what we were talking about off the top with Jeremiah Smith. They are truly trying, and this is one of Reese's tropes, so it's really important that he's back. They win tomorrow, they're back. I mean, that's it. That's what's at stake in this thing for them. And it's much more for them than it is for Ryan Day and Ohio State. Now, Ohio State's plan is to go out there and handle business and chase down history and all the things that come with it. But for Miami, this is a massive stage for the first time in a long, long time that they've played in a game like this. Speaking of Coach Day, you're going to hear from him, his thoughts on the long layoff and how his team will handle the play calling duties tomorrow night. We'll get into all of that coming up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
Would you enjoy watching a football game if the officials were paid a bonus for every flag they threw? Or a basketball game where the refs got paid for every foul they called? Okay, how about hiring a furnace and AC company that pays its technicians by the number of parts they can sell you? Hi, this is Dennis, president of Care Heating and Cooling, and today, this is how many companies operate. They call it performance pay, and it rewards technicians by paying them more for billing you more. Why is this bad? Because it abuses your trust in a technician to be treated fairly and honestly. At Care, we've been family-owned for 31 years and have always paid our technicians by the hour for repairs. We'll show you exactly what needs to be fixed and why, and give you our low upfront costs before we start. And unlike other companies, our technicians will never be rewarded for throwing more flags. Our Central Ohio-based staff is here for you 7 days a week. Care Heating and Cooling. Book an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com or call us at 1-800-COOLING. When you need a company you can trust.
At Metal Supermarkets, we're all about getting you and your crew to quit in time sooner. That's why our service is a cut above. You see, no matter the project, we'll get you to the right metal, shape, and grade. Cut to any size, ready real fast. And yeah, we'll deliver. Leaving plenty of time for the important things, like opening an ice-cold can. of aluminum. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience store for metal.
It's that time of year when one episode turns into just one more season, when dessert turns into dinner, and time doesn't exist until the clock strikes midnight. Wait, what time is it? It's time to finish strong. At Planet Fitness, we're not waiting for the new year to give it everything we've got. Enjoy 24-hour access at most clubs when you join for $1 down, $15 a month, cancel anytime, and pay nothing until January 17th. Deal ends December 31st. Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet. See club for details.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
What's up? What's up, man? What's up with you?
Sponsored by Newman Roofing. For all your roofing, gutter, or siding needs, call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF or visit online at newmanroofing.com.
All right, here's what's up on a Tuesday. Tomorrow night, Buckeyes and Canes hook up down in Big Dallas for the Cotton Bowl, but most especially for the college football playoff quarterfinals. Winner gets a date, most likely with Georgia, Dogs, and Ole Miss. The winner there will await the winner of the Canes and the Buckeyes. It has been a long time since Ohio State has played a football game. It has been less time since Miami has played a football game. Last year, remember, all the teams that had byes lost in this particular round. Buckeyes trying to make sure that that's not the case here. Here is Ryan Day on the long layoff.
Well, I think the first thing is, it's a significant layoff between your last game when you play this playoff game. So the plan that we have is very well thought out in terms of we have Mick Marotti involved with it, sports science involved with it. Our coaching staff has to understand what the plan is in terms of the preparation leading up to this game. It's very different. When you think about of all of sports, there's never this layoff in between your last game when you play in the playoffs.
Right.
So to me, it's been attacking that the right way, having a plan, the players and coaches buying into that. Part of it certainly was looking at the regular season, figuring out what the self-scout was, healing up the guys, but then getting themselves primed up and ready to play our best football.
The other thing that this team has kind of had all year is a singular focus on I think there were two things that, if you think of the way that a season lays out, I think at the beginning, you go all the way back till July, I think that there were kind of four benchmarks back in July that you were looking at. Number one, as Reese put it, the Daytona 500 first. So you get Texas right out of the gates. Okay, that's an attention getter. The next time that you had, remember, let's go back to July. The next kind of attention getter was Penn State. Penn State in July was ranked second in the country. So you had your eyes on Penn State. And then, of course, Michigan. Those were kind of the three things. And then the next thing that you looked at was, okay, now let's go win a national title. So there was very little talk. We just assumed that once you beat Michigan, you'd win the Big Ten championship. Obviously, nobody around here, nobody in college football saw Indiana come in the way that Indiana came this year. So that part of it is something that I don't even remember having a lot of dialogue about. It's like, beat Michigan, win the Big Ten. Yeah, but that'll happen because once you beat Michigan, you'll win the Big Ten and the rest will be history. It didn't happen, so you have to refocus a little bit. But now there is this next thing in front of you, and this is really what this team has been playing for all year after they beat Michigan, is this. These were the two. Beat Michigan and now make this run. One thing that they have done all year, and we've talked about it a ton, is play this long game. I mean, you think about how they've shortened games. You think about how some of these drives they've had that have been 6-7 minutes long where they're in no hurry at all, but they're just trying to get up, get to 28 points, salt it away. We'll see you next week. One thing that is they're going to have to find a way to do here over the next month is turn up the temperature a little bit. And one thing that they've taught all year is a desperate football team, a team that, despite being defending national champions, has really accomplished nothing. That's what they've sold this group of players. And you could even hear it yesterday when we were dipping in on Dom and Adam in some of the media day stuff. These guys are keyed up and ready to have this kind of dialogue. Here's Ryan Day on trying to keep this team desperate.
Well, it depends on the type of people you have in your program and what you strive for every day. And I think Caleb Downs said it the best. When you want to be the best in the world at what you do, you wake up that way. That's just the way you're wired. And, when you step into our program, like, you embrace that, what comes with that. And for us, on this group right here, wants to be the first group ever to win back-to-back national championships.
Right.
I mean, they said that right from the jump, from the minute this thing started about 10 months ago, the winter off-season program, the spring ball, and leading up to this point. And a big part of that has been the foundation that we've laid throughout the season. Starts in the off-season, goes into the regular season in terms of how you build your team as you go, but all builds up to right now. And this is, the whole idea of you get to this point of the season, the only way you get to tell your story and go down in history at Ohio State is if you win. That's it. And you got to win them all. Right. And for us, that's what our focus is. And it's all about winning this first game. And I think you have to build your momentum when you get into the playoffs. And I think you saw that last year. We won that first game against Tennessee. We built momentum. Well, when you have this layoff, you have to get your own momentum going. And so it's all about winning this first game against Miami.
It's pretty rare around here that you can try to do something that hasn't been done. I mean, most things have been done here, right? But this hasn't. No team that has ever worn scarlet and gray has won back-to-back national titles. Go ahead, Vic.
I was just going to say, and I think about the last time Ohio State won a national title in 2014.
Yeah.
Most people thought that was a year early, and a lot of people had back-to-back thoughts. I don't know how many people had back-to-back thoughts coming into this year. I mean, there were some, right? But I don't know how many were like, man, this team could do it twice with everything that you lost off of that team last year. A first-time starting quarterback, a first-time starting running back. It seemed like the odds were definitely against it. And then as we went, it was like, man, this could be a reality.
I think it all changed when we saw Julian play in the Texas game.
That defense, too.
Sure. Yeah. You're right. That's 100% right. Yes. I knew the linebackers were going to be elite. I knew Caleb was elite. So then it was, can the defensive line get to that level? But really, if you go back to anybody asking you every question you got asked after you went to the open practices in July, every question I got asked was, how's Sayin? How's Sayin? And I would say, well, he looks great, but I'll reserve judge. I want to see him play against Texas. And once you saw him play against Texas, and you're like, oh, he could have handled a lot more, that's when it recalibrated. The Monday after Texas is when I came on here and I said, that's the best team in America with the highest ceiling. That's when that changed, was watching him play against Texas. That's what flipped it. And the other thing that I remember talking about a lot through the offseason was most of the traditional powers didn't return quarterbacks. That's why we had such an inflated view. We, the collective college football media, had such an inflated view of Penn State and Clemson because they did. And LSU. I mean, all those teams were in the top 7 to start the year because we said, well, they got veteran quarterbacks, returning quarterbacks. And back to last summer, everybody thought there was a chance those 3 guys would be first-round NFL draft picks. Aller, Klubnik, and Nussmeier. They'd all be first-round. Now there's none of that. But we all thought, we looked at Georgia, we looked at Bama, we looked at Ohio State, you looked at Michigan, you looked at Notre Dame, all of the teams, Texas, all of the teams that were traditional, have a lot of talent teams, they were all starting over at quarterback. And once we saw Julian play against Texas, that's when it kind of changed. The back-to-back national championship thing is a pretty wild thing. So, quite honestly, most of the teams that you would say are the greatest in the history of the sport have won back-to-back national titles. Georgia, the most recent, they won in 2021 and 2022. Bama won in 11 and 12. USC won in 03 and 04. Then you go back to the AP era. Nebraska won back-to-back in 70 and 71. They did it again in 94 and 95. Oklahoma did it 55, 56, and then in 74, 75. Michigan State did it in the 60s. Notre Dame did it in the 40s. Then you get old school. You go back to Army in the 40s and Minnesota in the 40s. And in those days, it was a little bit different. But in the modern era, Georgia, Bama, USC, Nebraska, Michigan. Those are the ones. Not Michigan. Nebraska, Oklahoma. Those are the 5 that have done it. And you're right, Bake, on the programs around here. Most people, you want to think, most people probably thought you win it in 02, like Claret coming back in 03, there you go. You think about playing for it in 06, most people that were on those teams thought the 05 team was probably better maybe than the team in 06. And with Bob and AJ and all those guys, you think about obviously there's a lot in the 90s, and then obviously in 15, that was the team the year before was the team that did it. So last year was the first time where, remember, we had so much dialogue around Ohio State fighting with both fists forward. Last year was the most all-in I've ever seen Buckeye football. All in. All chips to the middle. Go win it. And they did. And so now how do you top that? Well, you can't, but you can create history. And that's something, the idea that hasn't happened around here is pretty wild, that you haven't had a back-to-back national title.
And just think, like, with the teams that have won championships at Ohio State and the eras that have been, I don't think it's culminated the way it has, at least if they go back-to-back in the way that this could. Now, it starts Miami tomorrow night in the quarterfinal, but if you're able to stack that, think of how you've stacked it, think of the ways you've built the roster, and then think of the Michigan dilemma. The Michigan, I guess the situation with them having lost 4 in a row in the rivalry, and then once you beat them, then that whole program just, whatever happened with the Sharon Moore instance. And I even wondered this last week, like, if going into 2026 for head coaches, or from a head coaching standpoint, is Michigan and Penn State going to find themselves in better situations? Maybe.
Yeah, you had a chance to weigh in on that. We talked a little bit about Winningham and Campbell, and one thing I saw yesterday a lot, Bake, after we talked about it was so many people acting like Michigan, like that's the ace hire of the offseason. Stop it. And I love Whittingham. I think he's a great coach. He is a 66-year-old coach.
Didn't he want to retire?
Yes, he wanted to retire. He was going to retire and ski. You can't ski in Ann Arbor. So the money talked. Michigan called, and he decided he still wanted to coach, and I get it. And I think he'll do very well there. But the idea that he was their guy all along, and the same thing for Penn State with Matt Campbell. Oh, we ended up with the right guy all along. No, you didn't. You didn't.
If and I said this yesterday, if Whittingham was a home run hire, they would have hired him December 13th when he reached out.
Yeah,
the day after he left Utah. But they didn't, because as we talked about, they didn't want a 67-year-old man coaching their team next year. They wanted to get a younger man, but everybody else decided to stay where they were, so they went that way. And it's the same with Matt Campbell, and people were like, man, Penn State should feel really lucky they got Matt Campbell after all this. Well, I don't think they should feel lucky, because they fired their coach first to get out in front of this, and they didn't even get close to their first choice.
No. I wonder how far down the list he was.
Was he on the list?
I wonder if Matt Campbell is ticked off right now because he could have had the Michigan job. Because it's always been said that Campbell's 2 jobs were here in Michigan.
There's no question. There's no doubt. I mean, you're never going to get the real truth on it. Never. But yes, the Michigan job was the one that he coveted. They're talking to many people who know him well. That's the one he coveted. Yeah. And had he waited, he could have had that mess to try to clean up. Instead, he's got the Penn State one that he's going to try to tackle. The Blue Jackets on a little bit of a streak. They're going streaking, kids, after a crazy travel day. We will weigh in on that. In addition to that, Chip Kelly coming back to the Big Ten, but maybe not where you'd think. We'll get to that coming up next as well. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We know everything about you. We know you love the Buckeyes. We know you love the Jackets. We know you're wearing a red shirt. Just freak the hell out of someone. The Fan.
Men, the new year is here, and if you're like many of us, you're ready to improve your health. But if you're feeling low energy, not sleeping well, or not seeing results in the gym, keeping that resolution can be tough. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, and if those symptoms sound familiar, we can likely help. They often point to low testosterone, and treating low T is what we do. But this year, we're also helping men go further with 4 targeted body composition plans featuring growth hormone peptides, NAD+, GLP-1s, and more. Designed to boost energy, support metabolism, enhance recovery, and accelerate fat loss. With our low T treatments combined with our body composition programs, most men notice real improvements. More energy, better focus, improved sleep, stronger workouts, and often a renewed sex drive as well. So call us. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on treatment the same day, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or visit tristatemenshealth.com.
Featured therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
The Lindsay Honda year-end clearance is on. Enjoy the lowest prices of the season on hundreds of new in-stock Hondas, like 2026 Civic Sport Hybrid Sedan or 2026 HR-V LX front-wheel drive. Your choice, just $299 a month, 0 cash down. Remember, our goal is 100% credit approval. Shop Lindsay Honda and save big.
From our family to yours, Merry Christmas.
Happy Honda Clearance on select 2025 models only. Visit lindsayhonda.com for details.
Some journeys start small,
with small paws and big purpose.
Look how turtles fly, you sweet girl.
Every great partnership begins with the first step,
Bella, let's go.
guiding them through the world so one day they can guide someone through life. With shared experience, confidence grows, and the path becomes clear. It takes time, patience, and love. But the reward lasts a lifetime.
Good girl, Bella.
You don't just raise a puppy. You raise a future. Become a Dogs Inc. puppy raiser. Give a dog a purpose. Give someone hope.
Learn more at dogsinc.org.
The best words to hear at the TSA security checkpoint? You're good to go. All it takes is a little preparation. Get to the airport early, bring a carry-on bag that fits in the overhead, and have an acceptable ID. Not all state-issued IDs will cut it. Check out tsa.gov/ID and see which TSA acceptable IDs make the grade, like a real ID or passport.
Before you jet, do a little prep, and you're good to go. Check out tsa.gov/ID or the MyTSA app.
What can ADP do for small business? We help answer the business questions, like how do you track employee time? How do you do payroll taxes? Or what does compliance even mean? So small businesses can focus on bigger questions. Now florists can ask, can we invent another holiday to sell bouquets? Pizza shops can ask, how do we stuff a calzone into a pizza crust? And pool cleaners can ask, what is that thing in the filter? These are the questions you can focus on when ADP takes care of the business of your small business. ADP for small business. Morning Juice, Wheel Football Talk. Just two guys who aren't afraid to say what needs to be said. And that's how she wrote.
Sponsored by Riverside Bank of Dublin.
Now streaming mornings on YouTube and 10TV Plus. Attack and dominate.
Hey, it's Berm here. 2 weeks into Awaken 180 and I'm down 14 pounds. Imagine starting your new year dropping that type of weight your first 2 weeks. Success right out of the gate with the solution for weight loss. Awaken180weightloss.com. Awaken180weightloss.com.
A system for every home and every budget at Logan AC and Heat Services. Get a free Trane furnace with the purchase of an air conditioner. And don't forget about our 10-year parts and labor warranty available now. Logan Services.
Before you buy a diamond, visit Diamond Seller, because not all jewelers are created equal. Hi, it's Alex Johnson from the Diamond Seller. For over 78 years, we've set the standard for craftsmanship, service, and value. Our in-house jewelers and gemologists work together to ensure every diamond is as brilliant as the person you love. All backed by our guaranteed best price. We don't just sell rings, we build relationships that last generations. So this holiday, before you say yes, make sure it's with the jeweler that's been trusted for over 7 decades. Visit Diamond Seller today.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Patriot Air Comfort Systems and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep your home comfortable. The Fan.
Our top men are working on everything except this show. This is Bishop and Friends.
I have to tell you, I didn't have this on the bingo card this morning. Northwestern football 17 minutes ago. Welcome to Northwestern, Chip Kelly. Veteran offensive mind, 35 years of NFL and college experience, joins David Braun's staff as offensive coordinator there. Wouldn't have had that. I do have to respect Chip's willingness. Chip just wants to call ball plays. That's what he wants to do. He wants to put in an offense and he wants to call plays. And it's, he was here for a year. My sense was I thought he would probably be here for 2. It's kind of what I was thinking, that he'd be here for 2 years. Remember, he wasn't the initial choice. I don't think Ryan thought he could get him. Originally, it was Bill O'Brien, and then Bill took the job at Boston College, and then Chip came in and kind of saved the operation a little bit there with another big-time hire, and then he did a great job. And then he parlayed that into, $6 million a year being the offensive coordinator for the Raiders, of which he will still see every penny of that, and now finds himself at Northwestern. Of course, it's worth noting that Ohio State does have a vacancy for offensive coordinator, and he's not returning here. Read into that what you will. I'm not going to throw anything at the wall because it's just not worth it to see if it sticks. But I did not have him returning to Northwestern, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and I do think it's, just as simple as, is there a job open right now to just call ball? And he's got that. I still don't think Ohio State's looking for a strictly offensive coordinator. I think to be on this staff, you got to be able to call ball and also develop players. I'm not sure where Chip was on that spectrum, if he wanted to go and be a position coach somewhere, because that's kind of the stable that Ryan's built. Like, you want to come in, you're a position coach, and you'll be a co or an associate or something in that vein to work your way up to do exactly what he's done with Brian Hartline. Now he's going to go take over as the head coach somewhere, and Chip's just not there in his career. He's way past that, and I think Northwestern just provides him the opportunity to, all right, X's and O's.
I think you nailed it with, if I just add one thing, and that is, you have to recruit at a level here.
Yeah,
So
you have to want to do it.
Yeah,
I doubt Chip.
Yeah, you've got to sign up for an up at dawn siege in recruiting and player retention. You don't have to do that at Northwestern.
I have a feeling that Ryan has a plan for what he wants to do to replace Brian Hartline at the wide receiver position and the offensive coordinator position already. And for whatever reason, and maybe it was just Ryan thinking maybe Chip wouldn't come available. Who knows? Maybe Ryan had a feeling that Brian was going to be leaving after this year anyway, because they did so well, and the offensive coordinator at Ohio State is always going to be up for jobs. I just have a feeling Ryan had a plan for this, and it didn't involve Chip Kelly, and maybe it's better that way, because these guys are best friends, and sometimes when you work with somebody, things can get a little contentious and hairy, and maybe it was just, hey, we did it for a year, we hit the ultimate prize, it was fun, you cashed it in and got a big payday, let's just leave it at that.
And the healthiest programs do what Brian Hartline did, or have the opportunity for guys to come in and do the Brian Hartline trajectory, where now they're a head coach at a Division I program. You come back, you're able to work with talent, you're able to recruit, build relationships that way, learn how to call plays, learn how to handle being a CEO, and then you're off to the next step. Again, I think where Chip, I forgot David Braun was the head coach at Northwestern. I'm really interested to see what some of these, I guess I'll call them smaller Big Ten programs that have a ton of money, are going to be doing come Friday's portal, because it opens Friday.
Dude, I forgot he was the coach too. David Braun. I'm like, is he related to Lloyd Braun? Like, I don't know.
There's no overlap that I can see with Chip and David. So I'm interested to see where that connection comes, or how he got hooked up to now being at Northwestern, Chip Kelly.
All right, so the Jackets, got to get this in. Jackets had one of the craziest days ever. They were delayed forever getting out of Columbus. They pushed this game back to a 7:30 start in Ottawa, and then they go ahead and win. And on top of it yesterday, they traded Igor Chinnikov to the Pens in exchange for a second-round pick. Bake, this is your wheelhouse. You can pick either way you want, the streak, 3 straight wins, or this Chinnikov deal that happened yesterday. Go ahead, my friend.
Well, maybe we'll get to the Chinnikov deal and the real truth. So I'll just stick on the 3 straight wins here.
Yep.
This is just evening out, like we talked about a while ago. The Jackets, in any NHL team, you have the ebbs and flows. You're going to lose a few, you're going to win a few. And I always said that they were going to win a few. Hopefully they are in the midst of that right now, and there's more than just these 3 games. The Eastern Conference right now, Bo, every team is within 4 points of a playoff spot. It is bunched up like never before, and it was bunched up last year. It is really bunched up right now with the Sabres going on this 9-game winning streak that they've had. So I think the interesting thing is you've won these 3 games without Zach Werenski, and you did it last night without Sean Monahan, and no one is ever going to say that you're a better team without Zach Werenski, because you're not. He's one of the top 2 or 3 in the world at what he does.
Yeah.
But sometimes you lose a guy like that, and everybody just has to give a little more. And you have seen the Jackets do that, especially in the third period. The third period has been terrible for them. The last 2 games, it's been really darn good.
Yeah, and it's the negative to it. Everything that you said would happen has, in terms of you these ebbs and flows and surviving it. The issue is, and this was something that we talked about a lot in November and December, is they were digging this hole, and especially over the 2 weeks prior to the Christmas break, as they were digging that hole, this is now mandatory. You have to win 3 in a row. You have to win 7 of 8, because that's the way that you dig out. When you dig those holes in December, you have to try to dig your way out of them in January. And so just to get back to that point is the job now. Now, to your point, they're just 4 out of the second wild card. Like it's right there for them. But you put yourself in a tough spot when you do that. I didn't see 9 in a row from the Buffalo Sabres, for example, coming like that. I didn't see that coming. But that's the type of streak that they have to go on a little bit here now, and hopefully they can.
4 out of the wild card, just 5 out of the third place in the Metro.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's very bunched up. They could be right there. Also, this Mason Marchment trade looks pretty good. That line of Fantilli, Marchenko, and Marchment has been very good the last 2 games.
Jackets back at home tomorrow night. First of 3 at home tomorrow night against the Devils, then Saturday against those Red Hot Sabres, and then the Pens on Sunday. Second hour of the program coming up next. We'll visit with Uncle Dom down in Big D, and we'll hit you with the real truth coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
The Big Nine was a sad, incomplete place. Enter Ohio State. The rest is history. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan.
Do you suffer every time you try to wear good-looking shoes, but you don't want to wear ugly shoes just because they're comfortable? The Good Feet store wants to help you wear heels, boots, and dress shoes again in comfort. Trade in your bad feet for good feet.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
People don't realize that glaucoma is one of the leading causes of blindness.
Because there are often no early symptoms, nearly half of those with glaucoma may not even know they have it until vision loss has occurred.
I was diagnosed with normal tension glaucoma in July of 2020. And what we found out at that point was I had already lost 40% of my sight. And you think it only affects people that are, 75 or older, retired, grandparents, and that's not the reality of it.
I didn't think at all glaucoma was going to affect me because I didn't know of anyone that had glaucoma, no one in my family. When you have glaucoma, you can't get back that sight that you lost. And so early detection and treatment is vitally, vitally important.
Don't miss life's most beautiful moments. Schedule an eye exam today.
National Glaucoma Research, a bright, focused foundation program, offers free resources and tips for healthy vision.
Learn how to protect your sight at stopglaucoma.org.
Being diagnosed with leukemia, lymphoma, myeloma, or one of over 100 other types of blood cancer makes people want more time to do the things they love. That means more time to be artists, prom dates, world travelers, and moms. We are Blood Cancer United, the world's leading organization focused solely on blood cancer research, support, and advocacy. We do the most for more people with blood cancer, so people with blood cancer can do more of whatever they want. Blood Cancer United. Join us at bloodcancerunited.org.
Common Man here for Germain Nissan. You'd have to be crazy not to consider a Nissan from Germain Nissan, especially this month during their annual final sale, where every car has been marked down to the lowest possible price. Plus, with Germain's $1,000 price promise, no one will sell you a Nissan for less. J.D. Powers ranked Nissan #1 in customer satisfaction among mainstream brands. No credit, bad credit, Germain Nissan can help you get in a car today. Germain Nissan, 4300 Morse Road, GermainNissan.com.
Hey Central Ohio, it's Andrew from Home Team Solutions, and yes, we buy houses for cash the easy way. We've been buying houses for over 20 years and we've seen it all. Whether you've inherited a property, you're behind on payments, the house needs work, or just want to avoid the hassle of listing, we've got you covered. No repairs, no clean out, no stress, just a fair cash offer and you pick the closing date. We've helped hundreds of homeowners sell fast and hassle-free, and we're proud to have 5-star reviews all across Central Ohio and an A+ rating with the BBB. If you're ready to sell your house the easy way, call Home Team Solutions at 614-962-SELL. That's 614-962-7355, or visit us online at selltohometeam.com. Home Team Solutions, local, trusted, and family-owned. Again, that's 614-962-SELL. 614-962-7355 or selltohometeam.com.
You know a thing or two about the moments in life that matter. You've seized those moments to embrace joy, accomplish great things, and build meaningful relationships. Is it time now to sit back and reflect on a life well lived? Maybe. Or maybe there's more to be done. Maybe this is the most important moment you've encountered yet. By volunteering with AmeriCorps seniors, you can seize the moment, lend a hand, and get back more than you give. We connect you to local volunteer organizations with opportunities that fit your schedule and match your interests. Through AmeriCorps Seniors, you can support people in times of need and make your community stronger. You can become a companion to your older neighbors, brightening their days with friendship. You can even become a mentor for young people, serving as a role model and enriching their lives. Are you ready to seize your moment? Visit AmeriCorps.gov/yourmoment and get started today.
Cancer screening can save your life. Begin cervical screening at age 25. At 45, colorectal and breast screening. At 50, discuss lung screening with a doctor. Find resources for free and low-cost screening at cancer.org/getscreened. This is a public service message from the American Cancer Society.
Care Heating and Cooling. When you need a company you can trust, call 1-800-COOLING.
We got a higher home appraisal after we put away our African art and family photos.
Has this happened to you because of race or national origin? Contact HUD at hud.gov/fair housing. A message from HUD and the National Fair Housing Alliance.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. Week 17 in the NFL wrapped up last night in Atlanta. The Falcons beat the LA Rams 27-24. No Thursday night football this week, but there's plenty on the line in Week 18. Tampa Bay hosts Carolina Saturday at 4:30. A Panthers win would clinch them the NFC South. The Buccaneers need a win and some help by the Saints to make the postseason. In other NFL news, former Bengals right tackle Willie Anderson was named one of 15 finalists for the Hall of Fame's class of 2026. Drew Brees and Eli Manning also made the cut. Final class will be announced in February. In the NHL, the Blue Jackets traded Yegor Chinnikov Monday afternoon to the Penguins. Columbus then went to Ottawa and beat the Senators 4-1. CBJ are back on home ice tomorrow night hosting New Jersey. In college football, number 2 Ohio State plays number 10 Miami tomorrow night in the Cotton Bowl quarterfinal. Join Skip Mossett, Paul Keels, and Jim Lachey tonight at 6 p.m. for a Cotton Bowl preview show right here on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
The best hair on the air. You are listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, second hour here on a Tuesday edition. Bucks and Canes tomorrow down in Dallas. Uncle Dom coming up in 29 minutes. Time now, though, to hit the real truth.
Bishop and Friends present The Real Truth.
Sponsored by Diamond Cellar. Over 76 years of experience and guaranteed lowest prices on Sawmill Road or diamondcellar.com.
All right, so I saw this earlier in the morning as they're doing Sugar Bowl Media Day. Georgia and Ole Miss play tomorrow, or Thursday night at 8 o'clock, I should say. Rebels quarterback Trinidad Chambliss says that he has not communicated with Lane Kiffin since Kiffin took the LSU job. Quote, I don't even think that's allowed right now, end quote. Is Trinidad Chambliss telling the real truth?
I think he should have said, I haven't spoken to Lane. Because the communicated is where I think you're going to be able to live in the shades of gray. And now, I don't know if Lane Kiffin even wants him. I mean, this thing is so crazy. Like, Lane Kiffin's offensive coordinator at LSU is coaching Ole Miss. That's happening. You know, I mean, like, LSU played a bowl game over the weekend. Kiffin was there on the sidelines. Meantime, half of his staff is coaching for Ole Miss. I mean, it's just the damnedest thing. It's crazy how we've gotten to this point. My hunch is Lane Kiffin, and everything that I'm reading is Lane Kiffin and LSU are going, as great as Trinidad Chambliss has been, I think they're going even bigger game hunting than that in the portal is kind of the feeling that you're getting from down at LSU. So we'll see. I'm going to say it is the real truth. I'm going to say it's not the real truth because he used communicating. That's where I'm going to say that's not the real truth. I bet they have communicated, at least through emissaries.
Yeah, I don't think this is the real truth because he's talking to Lane Kiffin's offensive coordinator every day, getting ready for this bowl game. So there's no way there hasn't been some kind of communication. Also, what was the context of this? Were they talking about him leaving and going with Lane to LSU, or were they talking about, I hate him, I don't want to talk to him right now, he left us high and dry kind of thing?
Yeah.
What was the context with this?
From what I can understand, Chambliss was just asked, have you spoken to Lane since he left?
Yeah, which I just think is impossible.
I think context in that is a key in where we go with this on the real truth, too. I do believe Chambliss will have one more year of eligibility remaining, even though he's 23, because he played 3 years at Ferris State, but only 2 in his freshman year. So I'm guessing that was a redshirt season for him.
And what a crazy situation, because they have Austin Simmons there, too, who was the guy that they thought would be the guy. Then he got hurt. So
it was Doogie Howser, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Cotton Bowl quarterfinal tomorrow night at 7:30. The second-ranked Ohio State Buckeyes will have an edge to them. Is that the real truth?
Reese, the reason that this is entertaining is yesterday in the 10 o'clock hour, we dipped in on Adam and Dom on
Was
live.
this unfiltered Dom with a microphone walking
Correct.
around?
Yep.
That's the best content. Money.
It was
There's
great.
not
It
a
was
price you can put on that.
So then we added a layer to it, and we had it a contest. Now neither Adam nor Dom were aware of the contest, but the contest was who could get more A-listers, unbeknownst to them, live on the show. That was also streaming on 10 TV Plus. It was an unfair fight because even at my best, and Adam King is nowhere near my best, but even at my best, I could not keep up with Dom on A-lister for A-lister. Like it's flies to honey with him, bees to honey with him with A-listers. Like he's always going to win. So Dom won that. But the one question that Dom asked everybody was, hey, let me ask you a question. It seems like you guys got a little bit of an edge to you. A little bit of an edge, I noticed. So that was every single question. And so we had a little fun with the edge. And so, yes, I think it is the real truth. Now, to his credit, I will defend him in this. What he's looking for is the answer to that question. So what he's not saying, do you have an edge? He's saying, please confirm that you have an edge so that I can run that soundbite on Wall to Wall Sports. That's what he wants. That's what he's doing. So that's what it's. And by the way, he got great answers to it because all of them had an edge. They all had an edge.
Dom also said that they didn't even celebrate the national championship last year. As they were putting the banners up, they took them right back down. And
the second. I believe the line was the second that they got done celebrating, they took it all down. Yeah.
We're not touching that. We're not touching that trophy. We don't want that. We're on to next year. I don't know if you guys heard yesterday. Adam King did his normal Monday hit with Rothman and Ice.
Yeah.
And Adam King's got the voice thing that I had 2 weeks ago. So I don't know if King's going to survive the Cotton Bowl down there with Dom.
Oh my gosh. Got to get some throat coat.
I mean, easy there. That's a lot of different ways you could go with that.
It's just
you don't
tea,
have throat,
dude.
You've not heard of throat coat?
Well, I've heard it in multiple different contexts before.
But in the context of radio, like throat coat's where it's at, baby.
You can get that tea at Giant Eagle. It's pretty good.
Pretty effective.
Are you a tea drinker, Baker?
I am not.
Okay. That doesn't surprise me.
Listen, I'm not a coffee drinker either. But I was having plenty of coffee up at the state championships doing whatever I could to save this voice. So
try the throat coat with a like a tablespoon of honey is a heaven. That'll get your throat right.
I believe this was a Dan Lanning take, but when the college football playoff goes to 16 teams, the first 2 rounds will be home sites. Is that the real truth?
Well, to be fair, before it was a Dan Lanning take, I believe it was this show's take. It has to be. It has to be where we go with this. This thing, they got to get the calendar right. They got to play the first 2 at home when it goes to 16. You got to stop being married to these absurd bowls and trying to act like these things still stand on their own, no matter how cool the quarter zips are. And if you're looking for proof of it, and I understand that the number one priority is a television show, guys, you can walk into Texas Stadium, AT&T Stadium tomorrow night for Ohio State Miami for $35. $35. You're in Miami, you want to see Oregon, Texas Tech, $45. By the way, those are down $20 from the Ohio State perspective, $15 from the Oregon, Texas Tech from yesterday. You're going to be able to walk into Texas Stadium tomorrow for $8. So, yeah, they need to create some And by the way, this happened last year. Do you guys remember Texas and Arizona State playing in the Sugar Bowl? And there were swaths of empty seats? Like, come on. Just stop with this stuff. Can I get an adult in the room for a minute to get this right? Just give me an adult in the room for a minute to get this right.
From the For What It's Worth department, the Rose Bowl, $114 between Indiana and Alabama. The Sugar Bowl, $200 you're getting between Georgia and Ole Miss.
Drivable, and you get New Orleans on. Think about what you're getting from an experience standpoint for Ole Miss, Georgia. Drivable for both places, long ways from Athens, obviously, but drivable for both places. You're getting New Orleans on New Year's Eve, which is a destination unto itself, right? That stands on its own. You don't play till 8 o'clock. You can tie one on Wednesday night. You got all day to recover before that game.
So there's a lot here. One, $45 to see that Oregon-Texas Tech game. I have a feeling you get every bit of your money's worth in that. I just have a feeling that's going to be a fantastic game. I really hope this is the real truth because those atmospheres have been so great as we saw with the Tennessee game. And I'm usually a big fan of Matt Fontana, who has been filling in admirably for T-Bone and Tyvis. He said no games should be played on campus at home sites this morning. Okay. And I was like, what are we doing here?
Well, that's silly.
Yeah, revoke his membership card.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I love Fontana, but come on, buddy. By the way, they should have taken this Oregon-Texas Tech thing while we're at it. That game should be at night. Play it Friday night.
Finally, the Columbus Blue Jackets will regret trading Igor Chinakhov. Is that the real truth?
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, he's a 24-year-old, ultra-skilled, big forward. I'm sure he'll go play with – they'll stick him on a line with Crosby and he'll get 20 goals.
That's my biggest fear. Somehow he'll wind up there.
I mean, there is something, Bacon, I'm not going to step out of my I'm not going to go outside the navigational beacons on this. This is your sweet spot. But to me, as someone who's observed this operation for upwards of 20 seasons now, there is a disconnect way too often between ultra-skilled players and this organization. And I don't know what it is or where it comes from. There are a few exceptions here and there, but it does seem like this is a consistent issue.
Well, we've fallen in love in this town with the tough, gritty third and fourth liner. And it seems like that's always the type of hockey that the Blue Jackets try to play. And I don't think it's wrong because that's the type of hockey a lot of times that wins in the playoffs, is that tougher player, a Brad Marchand type player, a Kachuk type player when the temperature gets raised. I think I'd love to know what exactly happened. It sure seems like whatever happened with his back injury last year, and they wanted to do it one way, he wanted to do it another, really derailed this.
Well, I didn't know this in the Porty reporting today that he went during the break of the Four Nations. Yes. He went back to Russia and had the procedure done, and one that their doctors wouldn't approve of. So that's like how does it get there?
Yeah, I don't know how it gets there.
He's a first-round pick, Bake.
I think this can be the real truth, and it cannot be the real truth, because this could be a great trade for the Blue Jackets because it just wasn't going to work out for him here for whatever reason, and somehow they got really good value for him. They got a second-round pick, they got a third-round pick, and they got Danton Heinen, who's a guy that can come up and play in your lineup, bounce back between Cleveland and here. This can also be the real truth because of where he went. And he went to Pittsburgh, and you guys both mentioned it. I could see him getting on a line with Sidney Crosby and him scoring 60 or 70 points a year, and that's fine if he goes and does that somewhere else because it just wasn't going to work here, but that could come back to bite you.
Yeah, I hate it. I hate doing a deal with them. I mean, you just hate that. Then you got to watch it. One of the great rivalries in college football isn't going to happen. It's going on hiatus for a while. One coach points the blame at the opposition. We'll get the details on that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Winners of the prestigious Platinum Microphone Award every year, given to the best radio station in the world. No need to look it up. It's real. The Fan.
Our clients deserve for us to care, and they deserve to feel serviced. They have questions, and they deserve answers. We're counselors first because I'm not selling them anything. I'm trying to teach clients how to protect themselves. At Curtis & Associates, we're personal injury attorneys. We've helped and continue to help hundreds and hundreds of clients every year. That's important to us. If you've been injured in an accident and it's not your fault, call now. 614-GOT-HURT. That's 614-GOT-HURT. Curtis & Associates. Attorneys who care.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Charlie's battery is struggling to start. Not ideal before the tailgate, so he goes to AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone,
where a friendly AutoZoner tests his battery for free. Looks like he needs a new one, so he gets a Duralast battery.
have fun and stay warm.
And he makes it to the tailgate early enough to get his favorite spot. Free battery testing and charging. No hassles, just help.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
A new exclusive offer with an eligible Bank of America Visa credit card is your opportunity to go from cardholder to ticket holder for the FIFA World Cup 2026. For a limited time, when you're approved for a new customized cash rewards or unlimited cash rewards Visa credit card, you're eligible for a chance to purchase FIFA World Cup 2026 tickets. Learn more today at bfa.com/cardfwc26. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America, proud to be the official bank of FIFA World Cup 2026. Bank of America NA in partnership with Visa. Terms apply. All rights reserved.
Hey, folks, it's Jeremy Birmingham, Berm from the Austin and Berm Show here on 97.1 The Fan. I figured I owed you guys another check-in now that I'm 2 weeks into Awaken 180, and I'm happy to let you know I'm down 14 pounds. What surprised me really isn't that number. It's really how normal this feels. I'm not miserable, I'm not obsessing over food, and I'm not guessing. I'm just following the plan and watching it work. And that's why this matters. Because if you're like me, you've tried things before where week 1 feels exciting and week 2 feels exhausting. This is definitely not that. Awaken 180 gives me structure. It tells me exactly what I need to do and is with me to ensure that I'm doing it right. Ultimately, that's the difference. For someone like me who spends a lot of time on the road, in the car, and eating at weird hours, all that stuff matters. If weight loss is your goal this year, don't pick something you hope you can stick with. Pick something that's already sticking. 2 weeks, 14 pounds, and I'm just getting started. Find your own results and free support for life at awaken180weightloss.com.
At ADP, we know you want your landscape business to succeed, but we don't know anything about landscaping. ADP only knows how to handle the business of your small business. So if ADP focuses on the payroll and the HR, while you focus on the land and the scaping, success should follow. Just don't expect us to know all about Kentucky bluegrass, zero-turn cutting, or what to do with a woodchuck. That's for you to figure out. Let ADP help your small business focus on the part of the business you're good at. ADP for small business.
Can't get enough of your favorite fan content? Good news, we're on all the digitals. Follow 971 The Fan on X, Facebook, YouTube, The Talk, and Gram. Your digital home for endless shenanigans. The Fan.
Getting a live Christmas tree to plant after the holidays? Well, here are some tips. In the house, keep it away from heat sources that could wake it up out of dormancy. You don't want that. Dig your hole now before the ground freezes. Or if you plan to wait till spring, you need to protect roots from extreme cold with mulch or straw. And move it from the warm house to an unheated area like a garage temporarily to make the transition outside more gentle. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from the Ohio chapter of the International Society of Arboriculture at treesforohio.org. That's trees, the number 4, ohio.org.
The ONN Daily Podcast. Get a recap of all the day's news from across the state.
ONN affiliate WBNS TV reports.
Haley Kirby reporting in downtown Toledo.
From the State House, Kevin Landers.
ONN Canton.
ONN affiliate WKYC TV in Cleveland explains.
In Marietta, Brett Wharf, ONN News.
Emma Henderson in Genoa.
The ONN Daily Podcast. Listen at onnradio.com or wherever you download your favorite podcasts from the Ohio News Network. Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Chances of snow showers on and off today. Otherwise, mostly cloudy skies and cold with temperatures in the 20s, but with the gusty winds, feels like down into the teens. Some chances of snow overnight, lows down into the 20s, and then for New Year's Eve, we will see a chance of snow later in the day, which could impact your evening plans. Breezy winds and highs near freezing. For The Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfalo with the 10 Weather Impact Forecast.
The two most mature people working at the radio station. And that's just because they wear pants.
The pervert and the skivvies.
Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays at noon.
The Fan. After putting up with Tom Tiberi for a decade, the broadcast gods gave Bo these two. This is Bishop and Friends.
Indeed it is, and we are proudly sponsored by our great friends at Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 78 years. I can tell you for a fact that the interest from the NFL around Marcus Freeman was considerable and legitimate. And Diana Rossini talked about this at great length, the Giants, but there were others as well. And you understand it. He's an incredible leader of men. There is an effectiveness that comes with his leadership style. There's an earnestness that comes with his approach that just plays. It does. And you understand why the NFL would have certainly wanted to be a part of it. Notre Dame said, not so fast. We're going to make this very lucrative for you to stay here. And I certainly haven't talked to Marcus about this. I don't know him that well to be able to, but the one thing that I just kept coming back to, just kind of a common sense perspective from his side of it, was he has the amount of time and effort that he has put into the last couple recruiting classes at Notre Dame, the way that CJ Carr played this year at Notre Dame. My hunch is that he wants to see that through. And he's probably looking at, I'm sure they're going to be pretty organized in the portal. It feels like Notre Dame is pushing all the chips into the center of the table as much as you can, that he wants to have the immortality that comes with winning a national championship at Notre Dame. That's probably what is his why right now. And in exchange for that, he's going to give up his life, because it's a 24/7 up at dawn siege, 365 days a year to be the head coach in major college football right now because of how broken the calendar is. And he's going to be compensated very richly for that. But that's my guess as to why this all came to a head yesterday, and he decided to tweet out, "Let's run it back," or 2026, run it back, go Irish. That's how all of that happened, and I get why he would want to have the flirtation with the NFL and maybe eventually get to the NFL, because when you're an NFL head coach, you can have a life. You can have off season. You can go on vacations. You're not required to be in the building 24/7, 365 the way you are in college. So I get it from that perspective that you would have an interest in it. But at the same time, I think what Notre Dame and Marcus said is, we have a 2 to 4 year window here. Let's go win it all at Notre Dame. And I'm guessing that's why he stayed.
ESPN had further reporting on it. Says the 39-year-old Freeman received, quote, an enhanced contract from the university.
Yeah.
I bet he did.
Yeah.
And it's good, because if he's in high demand, and he's probably he's probably next. You wanted to say who is next in terms of coaching, whether it be in the NFL or in the college ranks. Marcus probably has good odds on that. But I wonder if they gave him more money, or maybe in giving him more money, they upped their buyout, knowing an NFL team would pay it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I'm sure he got more money. I'm sure he got more money for the portal to bring in the guys that he wants.
Yeah.
And they've been really good in the portal already. I mean, they've gotten quarterbacks in the portal. They've done it before, so they'll just be able to run that thing back a little bit. He is a damn long way from the guy that I saw as the defensive coordinator on the field at Purdue, with Darrell Hazel as the head coach, and they were hanging on by a thread and inevitably were fired. And you just wondered, like, what is going to happen with Marcus? Like, he'd gone with Darrell, he went to him to Kent State, and then he went to Purdue with him, and then that fizzled, and it was like, I don't know what's going to happen. Then he goes and works for Luke, and the rest is history. But every decision, and he had bad luck as a player because of the injury that happened, and then that impacted where he was drafted in his NFL career. But every decision he's made in coaching has worked, and it really is that Luke Fickell relationship that got him from Purdue to Cincinnati, and then the rest, it was him making wise choices. The LSU Notre Dame decision was a massive decision that he had to make at that time, and it's all paid off, and now he's as popular as any coach in college football.
I just get the feeling, and I don't know, obviously, what Marcus's why is. And I think he could go to the NFL and be really good, because he just seems like somebody who could relate to players. He's young enough, close enough to playing. Obviously, the in-shape dude could still probably get in there and play with those guys a little bit and show them things. So I don't know what his why is, and I think he could, if he wants to go to the NFL in the future, he'll be able to. I think there's a lot of opportunities for him. I just feel like he has a little bit of unfinished business right now with Notre Dame. These are some of these guys he brought in. This is like his first group, and I feel like I think he feels they really are close to possibly getting a national championship. So I feel like he has some things he wants to see through here. And if he does want to go to the NFL, I'm sure next year, the year after that, after that, they're going to be calling.
And if not, he's going to have $12 million a year plus over the next however many years to sleep well at night on. So financially, he's now secure for his lifetime for generations. I mean, you don't have to worry about that anymore.
And this is all hypothetical, I don't think anybody's going anywhere. But if Ryan Day wanted to chase an NFL dream, say they get back-to-back national championship, and he wants to go, Marcus is the first call here, correct?
Yeah, I don't know if he'd take it.
I'm not saying if he would. I would think he's the first call.
I think I think he probably is. I think the thing with him that's so interesting is it feels like Notre Dame fits him like a glove. I mean, for a guy who didn't go there, who had no real ties there, like it just feels like he has completely immersed himself in everything that is Notre Dame. And it's, I think you're right. I think it would be the first call, but I don't know. I'm not sure he would take the gig. I don't know. He might feel that what he is building at Notre Dame is his college football, that there is no college football job better than the one that he currently has. That could be his headspace. I don't know it, but that could be. One thing that we know is we're not going to see USC and Notre Dame, that rivalry, for the foreseeable future, at least a couple of years off. Lincoln Riley, who is at the Alamo Bowl, his USC team in San Antonio to play TCU, was asked about the Notre Dame series ending. Here was his answer.
Notre Dame was very vocal about the fact that they would play us anytime, anywhere. And obviously them not having a conference affiliation gives them an ability to be pretty flexible with their scheduling. We went back, Jen Cohen, our AD, went back to Notre Dame roughly a couple of weeks ago with a scenario and a proposal that would extend the series for the next 2 years. And we took Notre Dame at their word that they would play us anytime, anywhere. That proposal was rejected. Not only was it rejected, 5 minutes after we got the call, it was announced that they had scheduled another opponent, which I'll give them credit. That might be the fastest scheduling act in college football history. Had Notre Dame lived up to their word and played us anytime, anywhere, we would be playing in the next 2 years and looking ahead after that and hopefully continuing the series. They did not follow through on it. Thus, we are not playing them the next couple of years.
He chose violence. I mean, he's got details and receipts and everything. So this came down to reading a little bit into this. This came down to USC wanted to play Notre Dame every year, but they wanted to do it in the beginning of the season. They didn't want it to be something that was hanging out. So historically, they play Notre Dame at USC. That game takes place usually later in the year. But then Notre Dame hosting USC happens typically earlier in the year. USC doesn't want to go out there in November is kind of the idea there. So as long as it was in the first month of the season, USC was in.
This would have gone perfectly in The Real Truth because Lincoln, I'm not sure, is telling the real truth.
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, it's his truth.
Yes.
They wanted to play Notre Dame. They just wanted to do it before the conference season started. Because they are in they're in a conference, and Notre Dame was like, yeah, we'll do it, but we want to keep it late October, early November. And I get it from their perspective. Go look at Notre Dame's schedule this year, guys. Like once they got through Texas A&M and Miami and USC, it starts to get pretty dicey for them. Like that ACC partnership isn't delivering the way that I think that they had hoped. And I'm sure their fan base is saying, look, we want to be having some fun games in South Bend in October and November. So I'm sure that's what's pulling at him a little bit. All right, we'll head to Big D with Uncle Dom in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Care Heating and Cooling. Honest technicians, honest pricing. Call 1-800-COOLING.
I'm back to doing what I love and more. Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Do you want to walk, play pickleball, and enjoy other fun activities to stay healthy, but you can't because of bad feet? Hi, this is Mike, and the Good Feet store wants to help.
I just had difficulty walking. I tried them on in the store, and my foot felt so much better.
Do you keep buying new shoes and inserts with little or no relief?
I tried all kinds of shoes. It was the arch supports that made the difference from the Good Feet store.
Don't let bad feet, knees, or back problems get in the way of staying healthy and having fun.
Thanks to a Good Feet store, I'm bowling 3 nights a week.
Get back to doing what you love. At the Good Feet store, we'll personally fit you at high-quality arch supports to maximize your comfort. Stop in the Good Feet store or book your free fitting at goodfeet.com. Visit the Good Feet store on Polaris Parkway near the Polaris Mall or on Stringtown Road at Grove City.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Yo, I'm your old basketball. Haven't seen you out on the courts in a while. Why not pass me over to Goodwill? Donating me helps Goodwill's mission to provide career training and support services right here in the community. And that's a slam dunk. Donate today. Hey, I got next.
To find your nearest Goodwill locations and to learn more about our mission, please visit goodwill.org. Goodwill, where your things start new lives.
Cancer screening can save your life. Begin cervical screening at age 25. At 45, colorectal and breast screening. At 50, discuss lung screening with the doctor. Find resources for free and low-cost screening at cancer.org/getscreened. This is a public service message from the American Cancer Society.
It's almost Football Friday. All play and no work.
Sponsored by Tansky's Sawmill Toyota.
Your home for football, The Fan. Bishop and Friends present Tuesdays with Tiberi.
Sponsored by Dr. Mark Levy. If you're snoring and not sleeping, call Dr. Mark Levy today at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP.
You been on a Longhorn yet?
No, and I'll tell you what. This weather down here, you think we got weird weather in Ohio? Let me just tell you something. We get in here, and it's 86 degrees, and it's humid, and it's hot.
Lovely.
Within 3 hours, we went in, we're working, and we walk out, and I go, what in the name of all that's good happened? It went from 86 to 53.
Okay.
Okay? And the wind is whipping it like, I thought I saw Dorothy go by at one point. And then yesterday, it was 43 with a wind chill of 33. What in the name of goodness are we doing?
Well,
and I'm standing outside going, oh, yeah, in a sport coat going, yeah, we're out here at Highland Park High School, the home of Scotty Scheffler, and, the Buckeyes are inside the practice center, and we're just out and freezing in a wind tunnel. Yeah. Well, if I would have known, I looked at once again, I got tricked by weather people. I looked at it.
Man.
And it was going to be in the 50s and 60s. 43 is nowhere near 50, is it?
Who did you wrong? Meredith?
No, well, I was counting on the
Meredith,
people here. I was talking about the good people in Dallas.
Oh, the Dallas
Meredith,
folks blew
I'm
it.
sure. Well, of course, that's what I was looking at. I mean, with the Cotton Bowl people.
Oh, I thought you were maybe you were hanging out with your buddy Dale Hansen, and you guys were paying attention to the weather guy down there.
Yeah, remember that one? No.
Yeah, I do.
No. Yeah, no. But it's, it used to be the Cotton Bowl, but it's not anymore. I mean, it's still the Cotton Bowl. It's the 90th year and all that. But they squeeze so much into 3 days, what would be a week. I mean, we're going to the Battle of the Bands tonight and all that. I will say this. Yesterday was fun, walking around, going live with the players and all that. I know you dipped in on that. And my takeaway, they seem loose, but they want to get back on the horse. And while I don't want to get on a Bramble Bull, they want to get back on the horse and play a game again, because that Indiana, especially for the offensive guys, they were embarrassed.
So, did you know that we had a competition between you and Mr. King?
No, what happened?
All right, so we dipped in on you guys. You were down there, so we dipped in between you and Mr. King every time that you guys would have a guest. And so what I did is I decided, let's have a competition. Who can get the most A-list guests on the air?
Right.
You won. You won.
I won?
By a pretty wide margin, you won, yeah.
Well, he was playing ring toss with some people.
Well, I didn't get him playing ring toss, but you had the final tally was you had 4, he had 2 A-listers. So you whipped him.
Okay, so who were the 4 A-listers I had? I had Patricia, Hartline.
You had Patricia, Hartline, Threes,
Carnell.
No, we weren't able to dip in on Carnell.
But I did have Carnell.
Okay, but I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. If we're going to keep score, I want to win.
You did win. You won without Carnell.
Yeah, I did.
He ended up with
Marceau's over here just looking at me.
You guys going to be inside or
outside? Little Adam is.
Voice. Hopefully, yeah, he's lost his voice. Hopefully, it's coming back.
Tell him Bo said he needs to get some throat coat.
In the morning?
Yeah, you need some throat coat, and he finally reached puberty.
One thing I talked about yesterday, and I'm curious because you're down there, boots on the ground.
Yeah.
No, I mean the building's not even.
They're trying to make this like the old bowl experiences, and you can see it everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And they're trying to jam all this stuff in. You said you're going Battle of the Bands. That's an old bowl trope, right? We're all going to eat T-bone steaks, so forth and so on. This is a quarterfinal, man. It's a playoff quarterfinal.
I mean,
and I'm looking at the ticket prices for this, Tommy. It's $35 to get in to an Ohio State bowl game. That's never happened ever. Like when you talk to folks down there, is there some kind of acknowledgement that maybe these games should be played on campus?
If anything, you're just gonna.
I've not had that conversation, but you're absolutely right. That's kind of what I said before. It's like they're trying to squeeze the bowl experience into a 3-day deal.
Yeah.
And, the teams, while, the teams are here and, they appreciate it and they understand the history of the Cotton Bowl, 90th and all that. But you're absolutely right. This is a playoff game. The winner goes home. The winner goes to Phoenix. The loser goes home. But I think they're doing a lot of it for the fans, trying to get the Fan Fest and all that's going on tonight. But, this is the new world we live in, and you're absolutely right. I mean, you could make a strong argument that these games could be played at home. And
yeah, you'd have a better atmosphere.
You know what? And let me just say something. When they go to 24, when they get there, and I really do believe that's where we're heading, 24 teams.
Good Lord.
I think that's what, you know what, Bo, you know what makes it tick. I believe within 2 years, all these conference championships are gone and you got 24-team playoff. That's what's coming.
There's not 12 worthy teams this year.
No kidding. Well, come on now. Tulane, and who was the other one? I can't even remember. It was so bad.
Yeah, there's no point in it.
There were actually 6 buys this year. Anyways, no, I mean it's like, but that's what you're dealing with, and it's cool. They treat the media so well here and everything.
They're awesome.
But it's jam packed now in a 3-day window, basically. Yesterday was, the team got in. What is today? Today's Tuesday. Okay,
yeah.
so it's running together because these have been 14, 15, 16-hour days for us.
I know. I talked about that yesterday, about how all those bowls are still built for the print, even though print doesn't exist.
I know. It's crazy. It was 16-hour days of this stuff yesterday. We were. Yeah. Because, we got to be live and all that. But anyways, it was, you think about it, the team came in Sunday night, and that was by design. Ryan Day's trying to limit, being out of their comfort hour. So they came in Sunday night. Monday, which was yesterday, they did media day.
Right.
And then it was last night. What was last night? Oh, it was the open practice. And then today is the joint news conference out at AT&T. And then you got the Battle of the Bands, and then tomorrow you play the game. And it's for the fans, I think it's a neat experience. At the end of the day, all this other stuff that goes on, and I tell our news folks that, all that's peripheral stuff's neat, but the game is still the number one draw. That's what brings everybody here, the game, not the stockyard, not the Battle of the Bands and all that. People want to see Ohio State beat Miami, redeem themselves from Indiana. They want to see them move to the Fiesta Bowl. They want to see them repeat as national champions. They want to see them beat Indiana in the title game that I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think Indiana beats Alabama, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, you got this huge layoff for some of these teams. Ohio State and Indiana, 25 days plus without playing a game. Last year in this round, the teams who had byes all lost. Now, the rosters were different. They weren't this type of team because you had Boise State getting byes and Arizona State getting by. But at the same time, like, there is a concern there, I think, of this team hasn't played in a long time, Tommy.
I think you're absolutely correct. Let's not forget, Oregon was the number 1 seed. Mm-hmm. And what was their gift? They get Ohio State, an angry Ohio State, in a rematch in the Rose Bowl. And we saw what Ohio State did. That was a big concern for Ryan Day when I talked to him early on when we found out Ohio State was going to be getting the bye. He said, we got to find a way to get an edge. He said all 4 teams that had byes a year ago were knocked out, and we can't allow that to happen to us. And he was very concerned about it. He looked for ways. And, the one thing I will say about Ryan Day, and you and I are in agreement that this guy's an elite coach. I think he's the best in the game. He was very calculated what he did in this off period. And he tried to ramp it up, but he tried to ramp it up, but he had to be careful because you got guys that were dealing with nagging injuries, and the only way to cure those is to give them rest. Mm-hmm. Now, the good news is Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith both say they're 100% and ready to go. Carnell is licking his chops, and I can't wait to see those 2 guys on a fast track on this stage. And I think both of them are looking to make up for a little lost time. I think Carnell wants to really have a big outing. And so I'm excited to see what they do. Julian, a Heisman finalist, and we've seen this kid literally grow up before our eyes. But I think this Ohio State team, Bo, is on a little bit of a slow burn. That they and you and I have debated this, and I argue with my man Tim May all the time, but the bottom line is this. When the team we saw play Indiana is not the same team we're going to see tomorrow night, hopefully. The team that played Indiana was a beat-up, emotionally drained football team. The O-line was banged up. Tegra, he's unquestionable. I'd be surprised if he plays in this tournament at all. He probably shouldn't have played in the Michigan game, but they were beat up. And I'm not taking anything away from Indiana, but they were a beat up, both physically and mentally team. And nobody in America had to play the game they had to play and then turn around and play in a conference game like that. And, oh, by the way, Indiana basically had 2 byes. They had a bye and they had Purdue. And, that's why eventually these conference championships are going to go away, and they're going to add more teams to the playoff.
You're exactly right. And by the way, the similar thing happened to Alabama. I mean, they had the Iron Bowl and then laid an egg against Georgia. And so, yeah, I mean, it's tough to do all of these things. You got 30 seconds, buddy. If Ohio State wins, as I'm sure you and I both expect them to do tomorrow night, what will be the headline that delivers that win?
The dynamic duo tears it up. Carnell Tate, and they're going off. I really do. I do believe that if I look at Miami's defense, their secondary is somewhat suspect, and I just think on a fast track. And I think we're going to see them light it up. I really do. I think it's going to be like we saw in the Rose Bowl against Oregon.
This is a deep cut. You don't need to react to it, but you're going to get the reference. Perhaps dynamic duo does Dallas.
Well,
again, it's a deep cut. I don't want to get you in trouble. Good talking to you, buddy.
I like that. Thank you. And I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yes,
Good night.
You do. You liar. He's such a liar. Little Dommy joining, Uncle Dom joining from down in Dallas. He's working 16-hour days down there, kids. That's what he's doing. I've lived it. He is. He joins on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. We'll do Thing or Not a Thing up next. Bishop and Friends right here on the Fan.
Through trusted relationships and national reach, CVS Health is uniquely positioned to simplify care. Learn more at cvshealth.com/Investor Day.
This is the Jake Diebler Show, brought to you by Encova Insurance. Jake, when you have a layoff going into the holidays, what's the utmost focus when you come back to play?
Making sure our conditioning's good, and this was great for us because we had a chance to get some guys healthier, and heading into conference play. But you want to make sure we get a rhythm back as quickly as we can, and make sure our conditioning's where it needs to be.
We'll have another comment right after this.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, two-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer both on and off the court. That's why Encova Insurance and their local independent agents are prepared for what's next and protect what matters most to you. Whether that's your home, car, business, or family, Encova's got your back with a policy that fits you perfectly. With local independent agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova's playbook is an easy win for your peace of mind. Basketball is full of challenging shots, and life can be too. With Encova, you don't have to do it alone. Your expert agent will guide you and provide insurance solutions so you can confidently manage your risk and count on a financially secure future. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you. Encova is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
At Ohio State, we are the never afraid to innovate teams, the agile get it done teams, the achieve more together teams, and the improve people's lives teams. Together, we are the Ohio State University.
Learn more about Ohio State at osu.edu/impact.
You haven't quite reached the second part of the season, but on your wish list, where would you like to see growth from what you've accomplished in the first 12 games of the year?
Well, I think it starts with our three-point shooting. I'd like us to get back in a rhythm there behind the arc and, get the right ones, more of the right ones, and get guys, shooting like they're capable of. That'll open things up for us, as the year progresses. So I think it starts there. And then, I think guys continuing to play with more poise at the end of games. We've been in some tight ones and, have done some things really well, but, we got to play with great poise and confidence down the stretch of, what we anticipate to be a lot of close games here in Big Ten play.
To improve that three-point shooting, is it a matter of individual confidence, or do you coach that up?
We have great confidence in our guys. They know that they got to play with confidence and they got to shoot with confidence, and the work, is where you build it. So we got guys in the gym getting extra shots up, spending extra time, and, I think we're going to break through here soon.
This is the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Toyotathon is on, and it's the perfect time to wrap up the year with a new Toyota, like the best-selling Toyota Camry. Now through January 5th, get 4.75 APR financing on remaining new 25 Camrys, or lease a new 26 Camry LE for $269 a month for 39 months with $36.99 due at signing. With approved credit through TFS, tax, title, and license extra. Call 1-888-36-TOYOTA for details, or go to toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Charlie's battery is struggling to start. Not ideal before the tailgate, so he goes to AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone,
where a friendly AutoZoner tests his battery for free. Looks like he needs a new one, so he gets a Duralast battery.
Have fun and stay warm.
And he makes it to the tailgate early enough to get his favorite spot. Free battery testing and charging. No hassles, just help.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
A new exclusive offer with an eligible Bank of America Visa credit card is your opportunity to go from cardholder to ticket holder for the FIFA World Cup 2026. For a limited time, when you're approved for a new customized cash rewards or unlimited cash rewards Visa credit card, you're eligible for a chance to purchase FIFA World Cup 2026 tickets. Learn more today at bfa.com/cardfwc26. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America, proud to be the official bank of FIFA World Cup 2026. Bank of America N.A. in partnership with Visa. Terms apply. All rights reserved.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
They'll offer betting advice, but don't bet on it being good. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Hey, time for a little thing or not a thing on a Tuesday. Hit it, fellas.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Billiards Plus. Find your next grill and everything you need for the master griller. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
All right, we've talked about it earlier in the show, but the transfer portal is going to open on Friday. It'll be a new 15-day window ending on January 16th. On Monday, Tulsa football announced plans to roll out a new digital media series called Transfer House, where they will reportedly give an all-access look at what navigating the portal is like for a Group of 6 program. The school's provided few details outside of the announcement on social media, but sources told Football Scoop the show will provide, quote, a bird's-eye view of how a Group of 6 staff navigates the portal and provide insight into player evaluations, to getting visits arranged, to signing the portal class. Tulsa's series is set to run the full length of that transfer portal. Again, January 2nd through the 16th. As of Monday night, the Golden Hurricanes already had 5 players set to enter the portal this coming Friday. Thing or not a thing?
Okay, I mean, it's obviously a thing. They're the first that I've heard of to do this. So here's what I meant. New digital media series. Is the idea that this is going to be every day? Or or whatever? It's regular though, right? Over the course of the portal being open. So it's a regular show. So then this is the part that I think is really interesting. What do they get out of this? So they get exposure. We're talking about Tulsa football, which otherwise we would not. But the other thing that, and I don't know this, I'm just connecting some dots here. Does Tulsa football have some money to throw around? And if so, is this an example of, come play here, this is what we can throw at you? I just don't know why they would do this if they didn't think it would wouldn't put them in the best possible light.
I feel like this is a thing, and it's kind of smart, because we talk all the time about how younger people consume media and content and all of that. And if this is something that can get some eyeballs on Tulsa football and maybe a couple people, younger people, throwing some support behind Tulsa football, maybe it gets them a recruit or two. Who knows? I think this is a pretty smart, forward-thinking idea by Tulsa. If it pays off in the end, who knows? But I like the idea.
You don't do it unless you believe you're going to look good. So they must have some funds they can throw around. Tulsa King.
The Indiana Hoosiers got some good news on Monday as it was reported that top-ranked wide receiver Omar Cooper Jr. will be fully available against Alabama in Thursday's Rose Bowl quarterfinal. Cooper suffered a lower body injury in the first quarter of the Big Ten championship against the Buckeyes back on December 6th. Thing or not a thing?
Well, massive thing. I mean, it was massive when he went out of the game against the Buckeyes, of course, in the Big Ten championship game. That's a big boost to them. He's a stud. He's their leading receiver, 58 for 804 and 11 touchdowns. Despite a lot of people saying, look out for Alabama, that number's still 7 for IU, which tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, people still can't. And I've talked to people, and I'm like, switch the jerseys.
Yep.
And what would the spread be? And most people say it'd be like 2 touchdowns. So this is massive news for Indiana. The one thing that you want to be at this time of year is at your best, as close to 100% as possible. Every good player helps in these scenarios, and he will help them against Alabama.
Happy birthday to Tiger Woods. The one of the greats turns 50 today. The 15-time major champion. He is now eligible to compete in the PGA Tour Champion Circuit once he recovers from his latest health setbacks. Woods hasn't publicly said if he's going to play. The former senior tour allows golfers to use carts, has a 54-hole format. Most tournaments outside of the 72-hole majors. This past season was the first time Woods didn't compete in a single PGA tournament. He ruptured his left Achilles tendon in March while ramping up practice to train for the Masters. He had what is believed to be his 7th back surgery back in October. That was to replace a disc in his lower back. Woods says he's only recently started putting and chipping, was not close to being able to take full swings. Quote, once I get a feel for practicing, exploding, playing, the recovery process, then I can assess where I'm going to play and how much I'll play. I'm a ways away from that part of it and that type of decision, that type of commitment level, end quote. Thing or not a thing?
Well, it's a thing if he actually plays on the Champions Tour. That would be a thing. If you just think about what that would mean for us in Ohio, I believe there's still a Champions Tour stop up at Firestone. So I
think Scioto Country Club's got one coming up in July.
They have the major, the U.S. Senior Open this year.
Senior Open.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know if he could be ready for that if he's still where he's at now. And that's in June?
Yes, I believe it's the beginning of June.
All right, so you got 6 months to get ready for that. That'd be something if your first ever Champions Tour event was the U.S. Senior Open. It'd be pretty wild if that was the case. The thing for him, though, and this is the thing I don't know, is like, what is the gain for him doing it? Like, is that more benefit? Would he prefer that, or would he prefer to just try to play in the majors and play in the tournaments? He's got exemptions forever, so like, play Memorial, play the ones that he likes, plays his tournament over the 4th of July, like those type of things. Like what his why is, I think, is going to be fascinating in all of this.
It's interesting that you brought up the U.S. Senior Open at Scioto because we know Tiger's love for Jack.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously that's the course that Jack grew up on. So you would think that Tiger, if he was healthy and available, would probably want to play in that. This is not a thing at all. 10 years ago, to me, Tiger was a guy that I never saw playing on the senior tour because he was a guy that you thought was going to defy odds and be able to play and compete on the PGA Tour until he was well into his 50s. But that's just not the case anymore. So I could see Tiger, if his health will allow him, and I still think he's going to try to, I think Tiger's going to try to play in the majors as long as he can. But I could see Tiger trying to compete and using the senior tour as a way to sharpen up his game for those majors. So I think this is a thing, and maybe we will see Tiger playing in the Champions Tour.
So the U.S. Senior Open is going to be at Scioto for the third time in its 46-year history, June 29th through July 5th.
So it's the beginning of July, not the beginning.
Think of that 4th of July weekend for Arlingtonians out there. You have the Tiger Parade, or the Tiger Tour, and the 4th of July Parade.
My hunch is, knowing him a little, and just the reputation, my hunch is if he's getting ready to play golf in June, he's going to be getting ready to play the U.S. Open. Is probably what
more
he's
likely,
try to do still.
Reese, you'd have to have 2 chairs that weekend.
Oh, God. Get one of those ones that just...
I'm cleaning them off now. We're getting them ready.
Get them ready. Final hour on a Tuesday up next. We blitz the NFL first. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
The radio couldn't contain us, so we've taken over YouTube. Catch Morning Juice weekday mornings at 6 by searching 971 The Fan. Do it.
Colin Man here for Germain Nissan. You'd have to be crazy not to consider a Nissan from Germain Nissan, especially this month during their annual final sale, where every car's been marked down to the lowest possible price. Plus, with Germain's $1,000 price promise, no one will sell you a Nissan for less. J.D. Powers ranked Nissan #1 in customer satisfaction among mainstream brands. No credit, bad credit, Germain Nissan can help you get in a car today. Germain Nissan, 4300 Morse Road, GermainNissan.com.
This Christmas, get a bonus AI Essentials course when you enroll in any My Computer Career IT program by the end of the year. That's a $3,900 value. Attend classes online or on campus. Enjoy lifetime job placement support and IT certifications in high demand. Go to mycomputercareer.edu today and take the free career evaluation. That's mycomputercareer.edu, an elite CompTIA certification partner. Conditions apply to AI offer and financial aid is available to those who qualify, including the GI Bill.
You know what hope is? Hope is action. Carving a path forward, even when it's hard.
And kids who still know how to dream. They're the best pathfinders of all.
So at Child Fund, hope means helping millions of children living in poverty worldwide to grow up healthy, educated, skilled, and so all those good things can come true for them, safe.
And that means safe at home, safe at school, and safe online.
Hope means walking this path together, all of us. Because when we work together, we can do so much more.
That's right. Hope includes you.
Child Fund, because we need each other.
To learn how Child Fund works with children in 23 countries to help them achieve their full potential, Visit childfund.org. That's childfund.org.
We are the keepers of the wild, America's original and most invested conservationists. For more than 80 years, we've been committed to conserving wildlife and the natural landscapes that define our nation. From rugged alpine ridgelines to peaceful tall grass prairies, we've supported the conservation of more than 36 million acres of American wildlands. Our funding has led to cleaner water, fresher air, and improved wildlife habitat. From abundant fish and waterfowl populations to robust deer and elk herds, nothing is more important than maintaining wild spaces for adventurers to explore and wildlife to thrive. We are America's hunters and target shooters, stewards of the American outdoors.
America's hunters and target shooters, along with firearm, ammunition, and archery manufacturers, have invested more than $46 billion to help state fish and wildlife agencies manage and protect wildlife and wildlands across America. For more information, visit outdoorstewards.org.
Hey guys, 13-year NFL veteran and Super Bowl champion Jason McCourty here, and I'm the Innovation Ambassador at FAIR, Food Allergy and Research Education. I would say the most challenging thing as a parent of a kid who has a food allergy is probably the ignorance that I myself had in the beginning. I didn't know what anaphylactic shock was. I didn't know the dangers, let alone the things that she needed to be able to have a normal life. When you go to drop your kid off, on every single time in the beginning, we'd have to go through everything she was allergic to. Preparation is everything. And me, for playing football for 13 years, it was all throughout the course of the week. It's getting ready for game day. When you're on the field, you're playing for your fans. At home, you're playing for your family. My playbook, read labels, keep it allergy friendly, and have an epinephrine nasal spray as a backup plan. Because when my family's safe from food allergens, that's the real victory. Visit foodallergy.org to learn more.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars, Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus.
Good morning, I'm Eric Reeser. Entering Tuesday, the Big Ten is 5-0 in bowl games. The conference looks to remain perfect this evening. At 5:30, Illinois plays Tennessee in the Music City Bowl. Then at 9 o'clock, USC battles TCU in the Alamo Bowl. Tomorrow night in Dallas, number 2 Ohio State plays number 10 Miami in the Cotton Bowl quarterfinal. Join Skip Mossett, Paul Keels, and Jim Lachey tonight at 6 for the Cotton Bowl preview show. In other news, Northwestern has hired Chip Kelly to be the Wildcats' new offensive coordinator. Kelly was dismissed by the Las Vegas Raiders back in November. In the NHL, the Blue Jackets traded Igor Chinnikov to the Penguins Monday afternoon. CBJ then beat the Senators 4-1 last night in Ottawa. Jackets will look for their 4th straight win tomorrow night, hosting New Jersey. And in college hoops, Ohio State's at Rutgers Friday night at 8. Buckeyes look to improve to 2-1 in Big Ten play. They'll host number 15 Nebraska next Monday night. You can hear Ohio State hoops right here on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
The final season of Yellowstone might just be Bo's dad live on YouTube. What's the difference anyway? This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, final hour here on a Tuesday edition of the program. We'll go behind enemy lines with Jordan McPherson for the Miami Herald, covers the Canes. That's coming up in 29 minutes from now. Between now and then, let's blitz the NFL.
Bishop and Friends present NFL Blitz.
Sponsored by Monogram Homes. Go custom. Go Monogram. Visit monogramhomes.net to start building.
I believe I had that. Reese, what'd you have?
Well, I had the Lions are done. And this was 2 weeks ago, I think I had it. And then it was made official on Christmas. Jeez. It's a really, really sad run for Detroit. And sad in the way that it's just ended because they just haven't been able to stay healthy to maintain themselves through the end of the calendar year. This is, the 3rd year in a row that's been the case, I think.
We have to give you flowers. You were off. We gave you flowers in your absence. You went 13-3.
And then I'm not doing picks ever again.
That's it.
The best it'll ever be.
We all skipped last week because we had the holiday, and I forgot all about it. It was Christmas, all that stuff, so we forgot. So great job out of you, though, going 13-3 last time out. Go ahead, Bake. What did you have?
I thought 3 different times last week about sending you guys texts to get your picks, and every time I ended up forgetting. Like I couldn't do it right then because I was either in the middle of the show or something else, and then I just totally forgot. I had that both the Ravens and the Browns would win last week, thus setting up this winner-take-all AFC North matchup on Sunday Night Football between the Ravens and the Steelers. I've seen this story with the Cleveland Browns enough times that, there's no way you think they could win, their season's over, and then somehow they pull out some miraculous win and beat the Steelers when they have no business beating the Steelers and setting up this showdown for the AFC North. It just had that feel, right, that the Browns were going to win that game on Sunday, even though it doesn't help them. And even though as a fan, I'll take it because you always enjoy beating the Steelers, but that win really did nothing for the Browns.
No, it's one of those things, though, and we can talk about this a little bit later when we talk about the Browns. And it still has to matter that you win the games for the people who go to the games. I mean, that has to matter for them. Like, big picture, of course, it didn't. I think Stefanski's like 5-1 or something like that against Pittsburgh in Cleveland. It's a pretty remarkable run. I believe I had that Pittsburgh stinks. They're not any good. They're not. They haven't been good all year. They put it together somehow. But the loss of Metcalf, which is absurd that he suspended 2 games for that, especially with all the history he has with that guy, because I think it cost him certainly a bit on Sunday, and I think it's going to cost him a real big bit on Sunday night when they play the Ravens. But they're not any good. They really don't have any weapon that is bothersome at all. And they're just not a very good operation, not a very good team right now. And yet somehow they still could end up with a winning record and win the division. I did not have that. What did you not have, Reese?
I did not have the Falcons doing that to the Rams in the first half last night in Atlanta.
Crazy.
I know that Stafford had, 2 picks in the first half, but the fact they were up 21-0 going into halftime, and it did call back a little bit to me, the 28-3 thing. No, the Falcons have a huge lead going into the second half. What could go wrong? And it almost did.
That's 3 times now in the past, last night and this morning, that I've had to be like, there's no way. And I had to go check that. I was watching the Blue Jackets game, looking at Twitter in between intermissions, and they're like 21-0. I'm like, no way. I got to go make sure that's right, because there's no way the Falcons are doing that to Bo's Rams. I did not have that the New Orleans Saints would go on this run at the end of the year, and that Tyler Shuck would be the man leading it. It sure looks like they made a nice pick here with Tyler Shuck. It's working for them. It's working with Chris Olave. He's having a heck of an end to the season, and the Saints are pretty tough. You may be okay, because I don't know if the Falcons can beat the Saints.
Yeah, I hope not. I hope, we'll get to that. I didn't have the Los Angeles Rams, who a month ago I thought was the best team in football, losing twice to NFC South teams, at Carolina, at Atlanta, and in those 2 games, Matthew Stafford threw 5 interceptions. For context, in the rest of his season, outside of those 2 teams, those 2 games, he threw 3. 3 of them. He threw 5 picks against those 2 teams, and it could end up costing them the division. 4 touchdowns, 5 picks in those 2 games. You take those stats out, it's 38 touchdowns and 3 picks against the rest of the NFL. But it cost him the 1 seed and potentially him the MVP as well. Player who impressed. Who do you got, Reese?
Well, Brock Purdy was so good Sunday night that he made Chris Collinsworth openly admit to drooling over somebody not named Patrick Mahomes. That was just an incredible sequence.
It was,
18 of 21, 288 yards and a touchdown. Those aren't the greatest numbers ever for a quarterback, but they're not bad. And I can't believe that in a loss, my player who impressed is Malik Willis. He did pretty good for the Packers Saturday night against the Ravens. And for a guy whose career it seemed like was dead, there might be a little hope for him. And there could be some trade interest in him, I would think, in this offseason.
He's played good every time he's gotten the opportunity there.
And he's made some throws that I don't know how many quarterbacks can make.
Absolutely. I'm going to stay with the high completion percentage quarterback. 19 of 21, 256, 5 touchdowns, no picks. That's Drake May against the Jets. That's humming. I don't care if you're playing against air. That is humming. Player who disappointed. Who do you got, Reese?
Well, I was thrilled the way the Pittsburgh Steelers no-showed Sunday against the Cleveland Browns. But if you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, they no-showed that game. I know they're not great, and obviously not having DK Metcalf hurt them. And I think it was Orlovsky's like, if they had DK Metcalf, they'd have won that game. I don't know, man. I don't know if you were watching that whole thing, but that was pathetic by Pittsburgh.
We talked about this yesterday. They were way more worried about Myles Garrett getting a sack record than they were winning a football game. For me, it's the entire Detroit Lions offense. I understand the Minnesota Vikings have a pretty good defense, and Brian Flores is a heck of a football coach, defensive coordinator. He has been awesome for them. But you were fighting for your playoff lives, and you do that in front of everybody watching? That's gross.
Yeah, it was. I'm gonna go Rodgers here from the standpoint of not necessarily how he played, but the way he yells at everybody as if it's always their fault, as if the Pittsburgh Steelers were the ones who made him to try to throw it to Martez Valdez-Scantling 3 straight times in the last series of plays. And I think everything Rodgers did on Sunday was to avoid getting Myles Garrett the sack. I really do. I think he would rather have thrown the ball into the ground than give another half second on a 60% chance that he finds somebody open. He was not taking sacks. On the last play where he throws the fade to Valdez-Scantling, he's got a guy open coming underneath, but he's predetermined. He was throwing it to the right and keeping it away from Myles. And it may end up costing them very, very big. Bud Kilmer, honorary coach of the week. Who do you got, Reese?
You got to give it to Sean Payton. Broncos are good, man.
It's really hard in the NFL to win 8 games in a row. You know what might be harder? Losing your first 3 and making the playoffs. And that's what the Houston Texans have done. They still have an outside chance, I believe, of winning the AFC South. What DeMeco Ryans has done there in Houston, they did it with Davis Mills. Now CJ's back and they're doing it. That defense is playing really well. He has really done a good job during his tenure in Houston.
Yeah, he has. He's very, very. I'm going to go Kyle Shanahan here. Their defense gets no pressure. They've had injuries. They've had guys who have come and gone, and yet it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They have an opportunity. If they beat Seattle on Saturday night, the San Francisco 49ers have the opportunity to play the rest of their season on their home field because that's the host site of the Super Bowl. No one's ever done that. We have had teams who have won the Super Bowl. The Rams did it at SoFi, and the Bucs did it in Tampa, but neither one was the 1 seed. The 49ers, with a win Sunday, would be the 1 seed, and every game the rest of the season would be played on their home field. That dude is a gangster.
I didn't realize just how far Levi Stadium, though, is from actual San Francisco. Because we flew in and out of San Francisco, and there was maybe one piece of signage about the Super Bowl being in your city.
Yeah, no, it's a hike, man. Yeah, it's a massive hike. And every time I'm out there, I try to envision where Candlestick used to be. Because you go right past it. It's right there. And it's crazy that they used to have it there and then they moved it all the way down there just because there was no real estate for it. All right, top three. Who do you got, Reese?
So we're going to do this week by week, obviously. I've got Seattle, New England, and Los Angeles.
I have New England, San Francisco, and Seattle.
I have the same as you. I have New England, San Francisco, Seattle. Your Super Bowl right now, Reese. Who do you got?
I got New England and the Rams.
I have New England and San Francisco.
Yeah, your Niners take, Bo, on them having just them playing at Levi Stadium throughout the playoffs. That's pretty good.
That's really good.
If they get that, yeah.
It's there for him. I give him credit. 2 weeks ago, he was on the 49ers, and you had them as your Super Bowl. And there's something not right with my Ramit right now. And those losses, they've lost 3 out of their last 6. I can't ignore it. I got San Francisco and New England right now, too. I'm fascinated to see what the path is for Josh Allen and Buffalo. What that roadmap looks like for them is going to be absolutely wild. Go ahead, Beck.
Bo, you mentioned it's really hard around here with Ohio State to do things that have never been done before.
Yeah.
It's also hard to do that in the NFL. And what you mentioned about the 49ers being able to play this out maybe on their home field, that's crazy.
Yeah, because the game's home Sunday, and then they'd get the bye. 2 home games in the Super Bowl at home. That's what's on the line for them. All right, we'll dig in a little bit more on the National Football League. Do the Browns feel like they finally have a quarterback in Shedeur Sanders? Have you seen enough? And one thing the NFL ought to stop doing. We'll do that as well coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Head to 971thefan.com to listen on demand and subscribe to all our podcasts. Wasting time has never been easier. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Charlie's battery is struggling to start. Not ideal before the tailgate, so he goes to AutoZone,
Welcome to AutoZone.
where a friendly AutoZoner tests his battery for free. Looks like he needs a new one, so he gets the Duralast battery.
Have fun and stay warm.
And he makes it to the tailgate early enough to get his favorite spot. Free battery testing and charging. No hassles, just help.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
A new exclusive offer with an eligible Bank of America Visa credit card is your opportunity to go from cardholder to ticket holder for the FIFA World Cup 2026. For a limited time, when you're approved for a new customized cash rewards or unlimited cash rewards Visa credit card, you're eligible for a chance to purchase FIFA World Cup 2026 tickets. Learn more today at bfa.com/cardfwc26. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America, proud to be the official bank of FIFA World Cup 2026. Bank of America NA in partnership with Visa. Terms apply. All rights reserved.
Hey, it's Berm here. 2 weeks into Awaken 180 and I'm down 14 pounds. Imagine starting your new year dropping that type of weight your first 2 weeks. Success right out of the gate with the solution for weight loss. Awaken180weightloss.com. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Once there was a man who couldn't stand.
A mom who couldn't wait.
A scientific community that said it couldn't be done.
And then you.
And then I.
And then we brought neuromuscular disease into screaming color with the Muscular Dystrophy Association.
For 75 years, our voices have thundered through the halls of Congress.
We've willed the impossible into existence.
We've pushed the science,
raised the funds,
shifted the narrative,
and transformed the reality of life with neuromuscular diseases.
For 75 years, we've built communities together,
established the field of neuromuscular medicine,
and made it thrive.
Call that a legacy.
Call it impact.
Call it momentum.
Just call it ours.
Because it's the generations of community heroes that give MDA the strength we have today.
And until neuromuscular disease is a thing of the past, you couldn't stop us if you tried.
Join us and celebrate 75 years of breakthroughs at MDA75.org.
You wanted to be cool, which led you to smoking, which led to a pack a day. Then you met that special someone, which led to starting a life with them, which led to wanting to live longer, which led to quitting. Then you heard you may be at risk for lung cancer, which led you to getting a low-dose CT scan. If you smoked, get scanned. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
Rothman and Ice.
So who's the source of this? One of those sites I go to.
Is it okay?
I don't know.
One of them.
You better clarify which site it's
Clip that.
Okay.
Rothman and Ice. Weekdays at noon.
Sponsored by Pella Columbus.
The Fan.
When a company tells you that you need to replace your furnace,
call Eco to fix it instead.
And someday when you really do need a new HVAC system,
we'll give you back all the money you paid us to repair the old one.
Up to $1,500.
Get an Eco.
ECO.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000. 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, rental portfolios. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Chances of snow showers on and off today. Otherwise, mostly cloudy skies and cold with temperatures in the 20s, but with the gusty winds, feels like down into the teens. Some chances of snow overnight, lows down into the 20s, and then for New Year's Eve, we will see a chance of snow later in the day, which could impact your evening plans. Breezy winds and highs near freezing. For The Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfalo with the 10 Weather Impact Forecast.
Common man, a radio veteran, has a large hemorrhoid. Timmy Hall, a good, clean boy. Moonlights as man's hemorrhoid. Common Man and Timmy.
Weekdays at 3.
The Fan. We'll read your emails on the air, but we won't tell you where to send them. Hey, we're not doing all the work for you. This is Bishop and Friends.
So basically, the final weekend of the NFL schedule has been set up, and it's interesting. They're putting the onus on Saturday versus Sunday. They could have done whatever that they wanted, but instead, what they and my guess is they were banking on the Rams beating the Falcons, because now that we have that extra data point, what they were trying to do was create 3 win and in windows. So what they did is they put Carolina and Tampa Bay at 4:00 on Saturday. That is followed by the Seahawks and the 49ers at 8:00 on Saturday night. So that one is for the 1 seed in the NFC, period, full stop. The previous game, they thought, I think, was going to be winner wins the NFC South. But with the Falcons beating the Rams, you now have a tiebreaker situation where now you need the Saints to beat the Falcons in order for the Bucs to get in addition to winning. And now we've gone Pepe Sylvia, but I think you understand what we're happening here. My hunch is if they had to do different, they would have kept that Carolina game at 1:00 on Saturday so that those things would have happened at the same time. So that because that's what you wanted, was kind of what they do in England with the soccer, where everybody plays at the same time on the final day, so that there's no sort of way around it. You want a win and you're in situation. Then they have one on Sunday Night Football with the Ravens and the Steelers on Sunday Night Football. I don't know why they are playing these games on Saturday. I don't get it. I think that it is a little bit overexposed. I understand it's going to rate, but you can just stay in your Sunday window, and I think all of this would have been fine. This is what I wanted to ask you guys. I have not seen numbers, and I've looked for them. Admittedly, I haven't looked today, but I haven't seen numbers yet in terms of what Netflix did on the Christmas Day games. Guys, I didn't watch a second of NFL football on Christmas Day. Not 1 second.
They were on. We found a couple places that were actually open, and they were on TVs in the background.
Yeah.
But I can safely say in the spots we were at that nobody had their serious interest. It was obviously the Lions and the Vikings, and then you had Cowboys
Chiefs and Broncos and Cowboys.
Yeah, but nobody cared.
So mine was kind of the same, and I think it was because for me, the games this year really weren't that great. They didn't matter in the grand scheme of things. I just tried to look up and Google the ratings, and they're not out there, but they do. When you do that, it shows you the games from last year, and if you remember, Ravens, Texans, Chiefs, Steelers, those games were all bangers, and they all mattered.
Yeah. Yep.
And this year, you just didn't get that. You probably thought the Vikings and the Lions would be good. Yeah. You probably thought that the Cowboys and Commanders might mean something, but they just didn't this year, unfortunately for them.
No, and because they are insistent on playing these games, last year they played them on a Wednesday. This year they played them on a Thursday. Because they're insistent on that, they have to take, before the season starts, those pod of those 6 teams in order to do a triple header. Here's an idea. Just play one game on Christmas if you're the NFL. Just play one game. That's it. You don't need to play 3 games on Christmas Day. Just play the one. You don't need it 7 days a week. Like if Christmas falls on a Saturday, a Sunday, and you want to have it, fine, do it. But the idea that you have to have it when it's on a Wednesday or Thursday, because it throws the rest of the schedule into complete chaos, and it forces these pod of games, these 6 teams that all have to cross-pollinate 2 weeks in a row to make the timing of it all work. It's just way too much gymnastics, and I don't know that it's worth it. I'm sure it's worth it in terms of the pocketbook, because Netflix paid a ton of money for them. But I don't think that you're getting what you're wanting out of this in terms of like this appointment television rush into Netflix on Christmas Day. Christmas Day for me is noise on in the background, putting together stuff that we got the boys. I mean, that's what it is. And it's family brunch and dinners and Christmas dinner and Christmas brunch, those type of things. Like, I'm not thinking about sitting down for 12 hours and watching the National Football League. I'm not. It's not in my wheel space on that holiday. That's what Thanksgiving is. Christmas, it's a much more active holiday. So that's my 2 cents on it. Fine. If it falls on a Sunday, Saturday, play a game. But do we really need 3 of these on the course of a Christmas day? It's hard for me to sense that they do.
I also remember looking up at one point and seeing Snoop Dogg performing at the halftime of the Vikings-Lions game and wondering to myself, where's the connection here?
Banger, though. Banger halftime show.
So last year on Christmas, the Netflix had 2 games, and they announced their ratings the day after. So the 25th, you had the games. The 26th, Netflix came out with the ratings saying, hey, 24 million viewers each between the Chiefs and the Steelers and the Ravens and the Texans. Hey, look at us, how great we're doing. And so far, crickets from Netflix in regards to that.
And that's, in the entertainment world, that's one of the big beefs is the accountability of Netflix. Because they don't have to tell, they can tell you whatever they want. You know, you have no idea.
Or tell you nothing, and that tells you enough.
Nothing. You're right. Or tell you nothing. That's absolutely right. So we'll see. But I think if they were great, they would have already known because those are immediate. That's not anything we have to wait for ratings. They would know exactly what the numbers are on that. We have the winner take alls. We have the Battle of Ohio one last time. Reese, one thing that Bake and I talked about yesterday, I'm curious, how much of the Browns-Steelers game did you see Sunday?
A good part of it, yeah.
Did you think that the Pittsburgh Steelers were more interested in stopping Myles Garrett than they were winning?
Yes.
Yeah. They denied it, but
It was, I mean, even to my eyes, my ears, the first part of the game I listened to coming back from the airport, and it was pretty obvious to Zagura and Siciliano on the radio call.
Yeah.
Like they had one thing they wanted to do was not have Myles Garrett get the sack record on Aaron Rodgers. And it didn't even seem or feel like when I put my eyeballs to it that this was a team in Pittsburgh that you win and you're in. Like there was no sense of urgency. There was just Aaron Rodgers yelling at guys that he didn't have any business yelling at because it's not like he was perfect at all at that point of the game, at any point in the game. Or he's been perfect in the last month. Like this was not a spot I thought looked good for Rodgers.
Reese, do you think that was more of an Aaron Rodgers thing? He didn't want it to happen to him, or was that the Steelers protecting T.J. Watt? Because he has a piece of that record.
I think it was more Rodgers didn't want it to happen to him. He didn't want to get Brett Favre.
I think that's a good point. Like, because Favre took a lot of heat for, remember that Gastineau, went at him?
Yeah, but he dove on the ground and let him do it. There's a difference between...
For sure. Than just playing right, which is if you just played right, theoretically, it would have happened. I want to be very clear. I don't think that the Steelers went into this said, we're fine losing so long as he doesn't get the sack record. I think they went into it, we are not going to let him get the sack record, and we're going to win. I think there's an important delineation there. And the win part didn't happen. And so that's the thing there. And I do think for the folks in Cleveland who went to that game, good for you. You got a nice win against Pittsburgh. You get to go home with a smile on your face because beating Pittsburgh always is a sweet spot for those fans. I think sometimes we spend too much time talking about what's to come or what does this mean for draft positioning. Going to the game has to matter. It's your entertainment dollar, and what you want to see if you went to that game is a win.
And you want to keep Pittsburgh out of the playoffs.
Yes.
Like if you can, for the Browns, know to yourself after week 18 is done, this time next week, know that you were the reason that the Pittsburgh Steelers did not make the playoffs, or one of the reasons down the stretch. It's a really good feeling as a Browns fan. And you don't get too many during the regular season.
You're totally right with that. And that win for the Browns fan in the moment was awesome. And then after the fact, you're like, well, now we're picking 7th in the draft. And wait a second, we just helped Baltimore? I don't want to help Baltimore either. Like,
I haven't gotten to that part yet.
That part is pretty wild, right? Like, certainly understand the old heads and about how you're always going to hate Pittsburgh more than Baltimore. But at the same time, the Baltimore Ravens are the Cleveland Browns. Like that, they took your team. That's a pretty big grievance that you would have against them. But yeah, for a given Sunday for both Bengals and Browns fans, it's nice to get a win at home, and then the two teams will play on Sunday. And look, the one guy, if you want to bring it back to Myles, the one guy that Myles has had a great amount of effectiveness in getting home as Joe Burrow. And Joe will hold on to it, and Joe will try to make plays down the field. I'd be shocked if Cincinnati went out of their way to not let him get it the way that Pittsburgh did. I don't think that will be the case for them. So that game will be played Sunday down in Cincinnati between the Browns and the Bengals as they play out the string on this season. All right, back to our game at hand. Buckeyes and Hurricanes will go behind enemy lines with Jordan McPherson, the Miami Herald, coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Picture it, your holiday table, the family cooking together, the scent of golden brown bread, rosemary from roasted potatoes, and a salad so crisp it snaps. This season at Kroger, make the moments that matter possible with quality that's affordable in every aisle. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Save on Kroger brand 80% lean ground beef. 16-ounce packages are only $3.99 each with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
I was in foot pain for 20 years, trying to give it relief, buying all these different insoles. Drugstore insoles, custom insoles. I spent thousands of dollars. I bought all these products, and not a single one worked. I really, truly needed to have relief in my feet. And the Good Feet arch supports were what gave me the relief I needed.
For over 20 years, we've been helping people like Teresa actually live the life they love without their feet getting in the way.
They wanted to make sure that I got something that my feet felt good in, not somebody else's feet. I love the fact that I can wear these arch supports in all my shoes. I have boots, I have cowboy boots, I have running shoes, I have walking shoes, I have flat shoes, I have heels. It makes me so happy. If you ask my husband, he will crack up because there is no store I would rather go in than a shoe store. I'm Teresa, and that's my Good Feet story.
See what we can do for you with a free personalized arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
Visit the Good Feet store on Polaris Parkway near the Polaris Mall or on Stringtown Road at Grove City.
Get your furnace fixed fast. Call Care Heating and Cooling. 1-800-COOLING.
Cancer screening can save your life. Begin cervical screening at age 25. At 45, colorectal and breast screening. At 50, discuss lung screening with the doctor. Find resources for free and low-cost screening at cancer.org/getscreened. This is a public service message from the American Cancer Society.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Patriot Air Comfort Systems in Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep your home comfortable. The Fan.
Find us on YouTube. Search WBNS Radio and you can see what Bo looks like. But only if you subscribe. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, let's go behind enemy lines down in Dallas. His name is Jordan McPherson, covers the Canes at the Miami Herald, and he joins us on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. You finish this sentence for me, my friend. We thank you gratefully for giving us a little bit of your time. This is the biggest game for Miami football since when?
Since the 2003 Fiesta Bowl, which I'm pretty sure your listeners know very well.
I was curious if it went back that far. Yeah. For the longest time, it's been, can Miami get back? And they've gone through a million machinations over the last 2 decades since that game. It feels like they're closer now than they've ever been. Why is it different with Cristobal than it has been with others who have attempted this, Jordan?
I would say it's just the slow build that Cristobal said he was going to do when he got here. He knew the beginning was going to be a struggle. He knew he was going to have to more or less completely overhaul the roster when he got here. Year 1 was a struggle, 5-7. Year 2, 7 wins, get to a bowl game, lose it. Last year, they get to 10 wins. They see how great the offense is, and they saw how big of a gap there was with their defense. And then they overhaul the defense this year, and now they look as close to a complete team as they have had in quite some time. You look at how he's attacked recruiting. Mario Cristobal has always been a fantastic recruiter. You look at how he's attacked the transfer portal to fill whatever stopgaps they need while they have their younger guys developing. It just seems like almost everything has hit, especially over these last 2 years, and that momentum is just going to keep building for them if they're able to keep stacking up the wins like they have done the last 2 years.
Jordan, what was the catalyst to get to this point with Cristobal? What behind the scenes got this type of alignment that they're now enjoying?
I mean, it was just he was upfront and honest with their administration, with their athletic directors from the jump, going, look, I was here. I played here when it was a national championship caliber program. I know what it takes to get there. Just give me time. And they gave him the time to get the recruits he needed, to slowly start building everything from the bottom up, from the trenches, from the offensive and defensive lines outward. And they saw enough of the glimpses those first couple years to see that eventually something was going to hit. And they really got those glimpses last year with the 9-0 start before obviously falling down, before the brakes fell off with losing 2 of the final 3 to miss the playoffs. But they figured out what they needed to do to improve the defense going into this season. And with first-year defense coordinator Corey Heatherman being able to revitalize that unit and the offense being able to do what it needs to do, they've shown that balance and that overall approach that Cristobal has been wanting to implement since he got here 4 years ago.
Talking to Jordan McPherson, covers the Canes at the Miami Herald. He joins us on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. You mentioned that 9 straight wins last year and then the 2 losses, and then it all kind of went away. It had to feel like deja vu all over again, right? You have the loss against Louisville at home, then they beat Stanford, then they go to SMU and lose to overtime, and it almost felt like I was watching that SMU game, and as that was going final, I'm thinking, wow, they're done again. Like they had all this investment and they're done. What changed over the last 4 games of the regular season that flipped this thing back around and got them to a place now where they'll find themselves in a national quarterfinal?
Yeah, you weren't alone in that thought. In the press box, as that game went to overtime, it went, it's happening again. Here we go. But the main message that Mario Cristobal gave to that team was their day after team meeting. He brought everybody in, he turned the lights off, and he basically showed them the highlights of their first 5 weeks. The win over Notre Dame, the wins over USF, Florida, and Florida State, all ranked games at the time they played them, and showed them everything they did right. And then he looked them in the eyes and went, this is what we can be. Realize what we can be. Don't let these last 3 weeks define us. Let's get back to where we were. And then their final 4 games, Syracuse, NC State, Virginia Tech, and Pittsburgh, they outscored opponents 151-41, 110-point differential. They're able to get into that last playoff spot. And then they have to play a gritty game against Texas A&M. The offense was not clicking until the very end. The defense had to do literally everything and rose it to the occasion. The 3 takeaways, 7 sacks, 9 tackles for loss. You probably couldn't have drawn up a better defensive performance in that type of environment, in the biggest stage that most of these players have played in on this team. And it just was the latest data point, the latest moment of validation for this team getting into the playoffs and now getting a chance to go up against Ohio State in the second round.
Yeah, and of course your quarterback has played Ohio State in the playoff. He did so at Georgia. It's interesting. When he goes great, all goes great, not coincidentally. When he doesn't, that's when the loss happens. 6 interceptions in those 2 losses, 4 in the game to Louisville and 2 in the game to SMU. But the experience is something that I'm guessing they're going to lean on tomorrow night. What has the Carson Beck experience been like this year for the Canes?
Yeah, I mean, you've hit the nail on the head there. I mean, when the game is to the point where it's fully reliant on him, it's a little worrisome. I'm going to be honest there. It's when they're able to be a collective team, when the run game is going with Mark Fletcher, Gerard Pringle, Charmar Brown, when the defense is able to set up the offense with good field position, when Carson Beck's able to make the plays, just make the plays he has to make and not have to be the hero. Miami had to rely on that a lot last year with Cam Ward. Carson Beck is not Cam Ward. But Carson Beck is efficient enough and able to make the plays he needs to make. If they can simplify the game, if they can make it so that he doesn't have to overdo it, then Carson Beck is able to effectively lead this offense. And he has enough weapons. Malachi Toney, the freshman phenom, who's done a little bit of everything for them. Mark Fletcher, probably the best offensive line in the country. They have enough talent around him where they don't need to put everything on Carson Beck. And that's ultimately the hope that they have moving forward.
So of that attack that Carson Beck will lead, and you mentioned some of those playmakers, and they are dynamic ones, and certainly Ohio State and Miami recruit similar players. Jeremiah Smith, the most famous example of it, but it happens all over the roster. What will their attack be against a Buckeye defense that the most points it's given up all season is 16 at Illinois, and that was in garbage time? What do you think Miami will attempt to do offensively to get this Buckeye defense, which has been as dominant as sometimes we've never ever seen in the sport? What will they attempt to do to get some advantages there?
Yeah, they're going to have to try to scheme up whatever they can. I mean, we saw Shannon Dawson over the last month of the season. He's had some trick plays up his sleeve. He's shown a few of them over the final weeks of the season. He tried to do it a little bit against Texas A&M. Establish the run and use that to set up the pass. That's been their MO. That's been their bread and butter when things are working. Get the running game going, even if they're not breaking off big plays. If they can consistently get 3-4 yards at a time and show that the defense is going to have to play both the run and the pass, that'll be Miami's best case scenario. And again, Malachi Toney, like I mentioned before, obviously he's been great in the passing game as a receiver. He's thrown 2 touchdown passes. He's run for a touchdown. They have a wildcat package for him. They call it the Mally Cat. That's able to open things up. And he played quarterback growing up. He can throw a deep ball. He can throw a deep ball. He can make secondary reads. It's honestly fascinating to watch this kid, 18 years old, do what he's done at sporadic moments for the Hurricanes team. And they're just going to have to try to spread the ball out and make sure that Ohio State has to pay attention to every single person on the field and not just pinpoint 1 or 2 guys.
How much do you think will Miami defensively try to replicate what Indiana did to Ohio State, which was really frustrating for the Buckeyes, probably a step back offensively from what we'd seen from Ohio State throughout much of the year. And the reason I ask this is Miami has a more talented front than even Indiana. Now, I don't know if they'll be asked to do all of the things Indiana did, but with Bain and those boys, you know that they can get after it. But the way that Indiana played it isn't necessarily what Miami is defensively. How do you think Cristobal and his staff will kind of mirror what Indiana tried to do?
Yeah, I think they're going to try to mimic a lot of what Indiana did, especially with, again, their main goal is going to have to be to rattle Julian Sayin early and often. And again, that game against Indiana, 5 sacks. Ohio State only gave up 6 sacks all season leading up to that game. Miami's defense, Akeem Mesidor, Ruben Bain, defensive tackles in Ahmad Moden and David Blay are all able to penetrate an opposing offensive line. They've done it all season. And then nickel corner Keontae Scott. He's one of their guys who is an excellent blitzer. He has, I think it's 11 or 12 tackles for loss as a defensive back this year. He knows how to be involved in all aspects of the game. If they can get Julian Sayin rattled, if they can flush him out of the pocket, force him into some quick throws, and even just impact his accuracy a little bit, if they can make it so that he has to think quick on the biggest stage that he's played in, that is going to have to be priority 1 for this Hurricanes defense.
Jordan, get you out of here on this one. I think it's still 9.5 is kind of what the number is on this one. I've been on the record with our audience here. I think it's a little bit too much. I just think it's too big of a number. How do you see this one going tomorrow night?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think 9.5 is a lot. I think Ohio State's going to pull it out. I just think just talent across the board, they have an edge over Miami. I think Miami can win in the lines at both lines of scrimmage, but I feel like in terms of the skill position versus defense, I feel like Ohio State has the edge here. I think Ohio State wins a 1-score game, but it should be on paper. This should be a thrilling game on Wednesday.
Yeah, hopefully you get one down there, buddy. Appreciate your time, and thank you so much for giving us a little bit of it today.
Thanks so much.
All right, there he goes. Jordan McPherson covering the Miami Hurricanes at the Miami Herald at J_McPherson 1126 on Twitter, or the X platform, I guess, as it's currently called, or probably will permanently be called. We'll get you 3 things on a Tuesday up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Through trusted relationships and national reach, CVS Health is uniquely positioned to simplify care. Learn more at cvshealth.com/investor day.
The Daily Ryan Day Show is brought to you locally by your Central Ohio Toyota dealers and by Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
There's a Daily Show with Coach Ryan Day, brought to you by St. Cloud Auto Glass. Julian Sand had the Heisman Trophy experience here a few weeks ago. That had to be a great thing to absorb.
Well, yeah. And then I think for Julian,
what's significant about him being invited to New York is his age. He's 20 years old. When, if you look at most of the guys who have been invited, certainly the quarterbacks, in the past 5 to 10 years, the majority of those guys are older guys. Guys who shoot. Some of those guys are 24 years old. And so for him, in his first year of playing, to be invited says a lot about his growth and how quickly he's made an impact here. So I think it was great for he and his family to go there. I think it also gives you a perspective. Coming out of there, it gives you a reference point of, I want to come back here and win this thing now. But to be around, such great people, certainly the finalists who were there, but also some of the former winners, and just being in part of that experience is something I'm sure he'll use moving forward, but a very memorable one.
Okay, we'll have another comment in just a moment. Hi, this is Paul Keels. This Buckeye season, don't let a broken windshield ruin your game plan. Safelite Auto Glass makes it easy to get your windshield fixed with their mobile glass shops all over Central Ohio. They can come to you anywhere, giving Buckeye fans more time for game time. OH? Man, I love that. Schedule at safelite.com. Safelite Auto Glass is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
Buckeye fans, choose chill. Coors Light is cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold packaged for a smoother finish. It's got that crisp, refreshing taste that makes those moments when you choose to rise above the noise and choose chill even better. Coors Light is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics, so crack one open and take a sip. Coors Light, choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2025 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado, beer.
Coach, and asking about Julian Sand and the Heisman experience. Boy, in the recent time here, it's quite a Buckeye event, it seems like.
Well, yeah, we want to be, the bride one of these days, not the bridesmaids. You know what I mean? It's like, I think we lead the country in getting to New York and not winning the Heisman. So, but that being said, yes, when you look at how many Ohio State football players have been invited to New York and how many we've had in the last, 8 to 9 years, it's pretty remarkable. You have to sometimes, not just take that for granted, because it's such a great experience and it says a lot about our program. And I think, all the guys who get invited, it's a testament not only to what they did and their hard work, but the whole program. But we also know what's most important, and that's winning championships as the team goals. And I think, Julian would tell you that that's what he's focused on right now.
Okay, there's the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
For over 37 years, Buckeye Nation has known Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse for serving the best steaks in the city. Our thick-cut, aged steaks are a staple in Columbus, with 3 locations in Upper Arlington, Dublin, and downtown. And just like the Buckeyes, we strive for excellence and an experience like no other. Hyde Park is proud to introduce the newly added wine room at our downtown Columbus location, where a new elegance in dining surrounds you, creating the ideal setting for any occasion or the perfect night out. Hyde Park is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
Toyota-thon is on. Wrap up the year with a new Toyota. Now through January 5th, get 4.75 APR financing on remaining new 25 Corollas and Corolla hybrids. Excludes GR and Corolla Cross. Or lease a gas-powered 26 Corolla LE for $199 a month for 39 months with $36.99 due at signing. With approved credit through TFS. Tax, title, and license extra. Call 1-888-36-TOYOTA for details or go to Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Charlie's battery is struggling to start. Not ideal before the tailgate, so he goes to AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone,
where a friendly AutoZoner tests his battery for free. Looks like he needs a new one, so he gets the Duralast battery.
Have fun and stay warm.
And he makes it to the tailgate early enough to get his favorite spot. Free battery testing and charging. No hassles, just help.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
A new exclusive offer with an eligible Bank of America Visa credit card is your opportunity to go from cardholder to ticket holder for the FIFA World Cup 2026. For a limited time, when you're approved for a new customized cash rewards or unlimited cash rewards Visa credit card, you're eligible for a chance to purchase FIFA World Cup 2026 tickets. Learn more today at bfa.com/cardfwc26. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America, proud to be the official bank of FIFA World Cup 2026. Bank of America N.A. in partnership with Visa. Terms apply. All rights reserved.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Connect with the show on X at 971BFS. Jump in our YouTube chat or just send a raven. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, Reese, what do we have on the poll today?
The Daily Fan Poll wasn't made until 5 minutes ago by me in honor of the 15 finalists for the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2026. That was released this morning. They'll announce the class in February. Okay. Is Eli Manning a Hall of Famer? 0% say yes.
Yeah, I mean, he's Hall of really, really good and really clutch and beating great teams, but doesn't he have the same? Isn't he a 500 quarterback? I think he's 500 all time. I think he's got the exact same amount of wins and losses.
If we were doing this on paychecks and money made, yeah, he's a Hall of Famer. I always feel with this stuff, if I have to question it at all, you're not Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Like, it should be an immediate yes or no. And I know it's different for everyone else, but like to me, if I have to question it at all, I say no, you're not a Hall of Famer. Because as you said, it's not the Hall of really good.
Yeah.
So they've
real quick, so he's 117 and 117 career. He's a career 60% completion percentage, 366 touchdowns, 244 interceptions. He was a four-time Pro Bowler, two-time Super Bowl MVP. If you're looking for a comp for him in terms of quarterbacks who are in with the resume similar, it's Troy Aikman. That's the one. And quite honestly, Aikman probably shouldn't have been in, but he was a three-time Super Bowl champion quarterback, and that's how he got in. But in terms of if he should be there, probably not. And that's kind of where I am with Eli.
So Drew Brees, also part of this group of 15. Bengals tackle Willie Anderson on this list as well. I didn't know he was on the Ravens roster in 2008, his final season in the league. You've also got Luke Kuechly, you've got Terrell Suggs, Adam Vinatieri, Reggie Wayne, Jason Witten. I didn't know this about the process, but the finalists, again, there are 15 that were announced this morning. It'll be whittled down to 10 and then finally 7. And the 50-person selection committee gets to the 7 finalists. They're going to each submit one ballot. Matt Verderam of Sports Illustrated thinks that Brees and Fitzgerald likely the only two on this to be unanimous.
I think that's fair. I think Kuechly should be in too. Like he should have been in on the first ballot.
I caught him on ESPN last night. He was doing like their ESPN2 simulcast. Oh, yeah. He was really good.
He's obsessive about ball, so that certainly tracks. Let's get to 3 things on a Tuesday. Go ahead, guys.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Scioto Downs. Your play, your perks, your Caesars Rewards spot.
All right, number 1 for me, and this is kind of a question as much as it is a statement. So my wife and kids have been gone since Friday. They've been in Southern California. I've been constantly showered with pictures of sunshine and golf courses, and at one point Bootsy was tobogganing on a man-made snow hill on the driving range, and I was supposed to think that was great. And I said, you want to just kick Buddy right in the testicles that he no longer has while you're here? I mean, who's stopping you? They get back tonight. Should I have cleaned up after Christmas?
I don't think so, but I know it'll probably be expected of you.
What do you mean cleaned up? Like take everything down? Or
No. Okay. Just like clean up like their nonsense from Christmas. Because they left 4 o'clock in the morning Friday. So it was all just sitting there.
Yeah, they probably should have done that if they were worried about it.
That's what I think. I let it lay, and I guess I'll just suffer for it later.
This was yesterday. I don't know if you guys had Lincoln Keenholz as part of your Dom has a microphone and is let loose.
We did not.
On Media Day, but I thought his answer about his future was really candid, and I really appreciate how he doesn't know, and he was willing to say it outwardly, that he didn't know if he was 100% committed to coming back to Ohio State. He wants to go to the NFL, and he said it the best. To be in the NFL, you have to play. And whatever happens with Lincoln after, once this transfer portal window opens on Friday, I hope the best for him in the future because he's awesome.
I wonder if he goes home.
I mean, we could do this exercise. How many Big Ten teams would have him starting right now?
Sure, but he needs a place that he can't do what Devin Brown did. where you think you have it lined up and then you back it up a freshman. Like, he's got to go someplace where he can play.
Yeah. Wish Lincoln the best, whatever he does. They did say if he does decide to enter the portal, he's going to stay with the Buckeyes through this championship run. So that is nice. I just saw this coming down within the last half hour. Nikola Jokic is going to miss at least 4 weeks with a hyperextended left knee. They said no ligament damage, but they are going to reevaluate everything in 4 weeks. This will be the most time he's ever missed in his 10-year career. He's played at least 69 games in every year he's played in. I don't know if people are paying attention to this. We talked about it, DeVere and I did, on Friday a little bit because he went off on Christmas night. He is averaging a triple-double right now, and it's not even close. He's averaging the 5th most points in the league at 29.6. He's number 1 at rebounds at 12.2. He's also number 1 in assists in the league with 11 a game.
It's amazing. Yeah, he's incredible. Already a 3-time MVP, same amount as Larry Bird, which is hard to wrap your head around, but that's where you're at. Number 2 for me. So while watching the Monday Nighter last night, I wasn't that interested into it, so I had it on second screen, and the HBO tiers were showing Game of Thrones season 1 into season 2. God, that was great. It was so good. Like those episodes at the end of 1 and then leading into the beginning of 2. I ended up watching 4 or 5 episodes of it as I was keeping an eye on the NFL game. Man, is it good. It's a shame they dropped the ball they did on the end of that series because there are so many great episodes of television in that thing.
It's not as, I don't think it's as great or it will have the kind of impact that Game of Thrones did culturally, but Stranger Things comes to an end tomorrow.
Yeah.
Mercifully. The first 2 seasons, I think, were wonderful television, but they've just dragged this thing out as far as possible. I know they had like 4 that were released on Christmas, and they've got the series finale tomorrow night. And that's what I was looking back at Netflix to try and see if they had announced their NFL numbers, and they didn't. It's all Stranger Things stuff. And this, again, will end mercifully tomorrow night because it was great at first. It's just gone on too long.
Yeah, about season 4, I was done with that. It started getting really weird, and I just lost all kinds of interest. I knew this was going to happen as soon as the Buckeyes were announced that they were in the Cotton Bowl, but I have a big dilemma tomorrow night because my favorite Jackets game of the year is New Year's Eve game, and I'm going to be at the Jackets. So I don't know if I have the tablet on and I'm watching the Buckeyes or if I just try to avoid everything I can go home and ESPN Plus it and catch up. I'm really not liking this. Yeah, press box.
Okay, then just watch it on the tablet. That's the only way.
But then I can't focus on both and it drives me nuts.
Listen, I know you love the puck, but buddy, come on now.
Oh, I'm telling you, I watched a Jackets game over Ohio State, Michigan one year.
You're sick in the head. Finally, really quickly, number 3 for me. I saw a guy yesterday on the street driving a Bandit Trans Am, and I thought, who's winning at life more than him? Nobody. Just was so proud to see it.
Final thing for me, we'll have some stuff tomorrow on Steve Sarkisian talking about agents and money and requests in the transfer portal board. It would sure be nice if we had some leadership to come out like a coach maybe and say, hey, this needs to be collectively bargained for.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's ever been a bigger Rothman and Ice than you've got today. You've got Adam Schefter, you've got Tyvis Powell, Tim May, and Austin Ward. Oh, my goodness.
Good grief. That's coming up next. We're back tomorrow, Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
If you haven't thought about Buckeye football today, I'm sorry to tell you that you're dead.